Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break the keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your own prison cell. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't owe you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it. I'm telling you, don't waste it. Lies telling you, don't waste it on me.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of Midweek Mix-Up Podcasts. It's just me and Shom starting off the show today. Boxenberg will be joining us in a little bit when he's done with his work meal or work or whatever he's doing. And then it'll be the three musketeers that carry us through the show. But hope everybody is well. Of course, we're back for the first time on a Wednesday for a number of weeks now. I think it's been 3 weeks since we were back on a Wednesday. But it's good to be back. Of course, new setup now. Of course, for those who didn't see it on the charity streams, new setup. All comfortable now, a little bit more leg room to float around in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into the show. Of course, there's only a couple of topics this evening, but it's a nice light podcast. But no doubt one of them will be full of depth because there's quite a bit to cover on it. But before we do that, welcome in everybody. We are still, of course, raising for special effect until the end of the month. We are at £1,116 as it stands. Of course, if you would like to donate towards that, please do. The QR code is on screen for special code day, so special effect. So just scan the code and you'll be able to chuck a little donation towards it and get us towards that 1,500 goal. So we're 75% away from into target. Not far to go. Got a mountain climb to go next week, and we'll be doing a little bit more streaming as well towards it. So if anybody can help, that would be much appreciated. Other than that, let's get into it. The only intro I need to do today so far. Shom, how are you doing? What you been up to? What you been playing?
I've been working as the usual. I was just saying backstage that I've just finished day 7 of 7. Um, so I'm all right now. I
Yeah.
might get a little bit tired later, but tomorrow I know I'm going to crash. Um, but what I've been playing, I've been playing a bit of Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
I've just got to the point where they're interviewing Alan Wake, so I don't want to spoil too much. But I'm just at that point. Um, I'm really enjoying it, to be honest with you. I think it's probably going to be my game of the year
Oh,
um, if things carry on. I know I've heard some other stuff that happens later on involving previous franchises from Remedy have little hints and little chapters in it, so I haven't got that far yet. I'll see how they progress. But
yeah.
so far, I'm really, really enjoying it. From
I
the
hear
opening
there's like
scene.
multiple ways to play it. You can either play one character all the way through, followed by the other character all the way through, or you can play them interlinked. So you can go do a chapter and then do their chapter, and then do his chapter, and then do their chapter. Is that right?
So far, it's been Saga, then a little bit of Alan, and Saga, and then a big bit of Alan where I'm kind of like in this. I think it's the darkness or whatever it is.
Right.
He's in that, and then I'm back to Saga. But from what the game was saying, that if you go into like the janitor's closets and there's puddles on the floor, you can go into the darkness area,
Right.
and you can do. Yeah, I think you can choose. I don't know whether it'll force me to do Saga Alan, or whether I can do all of Alan or all of Saga. I'm not sure. It wouldn't make sense to do that just because of the way the story goes.
Yeah.
If you, so I don't know. I'll find out. I'm sure someone else can say if they've gotten that far. Um, and the other game I've played was I'm just trying to get through um, God of War Ragnarok, which I'm not really enjoying, to be honest with you. It just seems a bit of a chore.
Yeah.
Um,
We were just having this discussion before we started as well, though, didn't we? You're finding that a chore, whereas you again you loved. I think you loved The Last of Us Part Two.
um, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say like I know like Erwin. He
Yes, it
loves
was.
that game.
Sorry, yeah,
He really
Irwin.
really loves
Irwin's the
the
one that
game.
loved it,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Whereas I was like, it's all right. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I was very much like everybody else by the end of it. I preferred Abby over Ellie.
Right.
And going forward, I would actually prefer if they focused on Abby, if they did an actual Abby Last of Us 3. I just think she's a better character. I think she's written better. Um, some of the choices that Ellie makes in it are just like it's almost kind of like when you're in like a TV show or a film and they always have this kid that just does the wrong thing all the time that makes no sense. There's no common sense behind it.
Yeah.
Um, Normally like zombie films or zombie TV shows, and the mom's like, "Stay here, whatever you do, don't leave this place." And then 30 seconds later, they're peeping out, kind of going, "Oh, let's see what's out here." It's that kind of like, "What's she just say?" Um, yeah, so Ellie has that kind of. Again, I'm not gonna spoil it because there might be somebody who's not played it.
Yeah.
But the bit where Ellie has to make a choice in terms of her and her girlfriend, and you're just like, "Are you dumb? Are you just really dumb?" So yeah, it's a good game though. It's a very good looking game, and I think it far exceeds what really the PS4 should be able to do in terms of graphics.
Yeah.
But I think The Last of Us did that for the PS3. When you look at the PS3 and The Last of Us when it came out, you're like, this is a really good looking game. How have they managed to
Yeah.
get that looking like that from that hardware? So Naughty Dog, they're a very talented studio when it comes to that.
I would say, to be fair, I would say Sucker Punch were pretty much on par with The Last of Us for what they managed to do on the PlayStation 4. Like, playing Ghost of Tsushima now, even thinking back to playing it on the PlayStation 4, it's a very good looking game.
I still think what's it called? What is it? Infamous Second Son, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
There's some bits in that you're like, not a bit, but when you've got some like all the sparkly effects and everything going off, it's like that's a really good. That's some really impressive things. In fact, I need to get back into that. I'll download it on PS Plus.
I've
But
got
yeah,
that as well.
Ragnarok.
Actually, I went through a phase of literally buying all of the old PlayStation exclusives that I didn't get round to playing. Because obviously I
Oh
skipped the
yeah.
PS3 generation. Now it was PS1, PS2, skipped PlayStation 3 and went PlayStation 4. So on PS4 I just went, right, I'm buying all of the ones I missed. So it was like
Yeah.
Infamous Second Son, Infamous First Light, Infamous, like all of them, then just a bunch of games that I need to really get around to, but it's just fitting them all in, especially when new stuff comes
Yeah,
out.
I'm less likely to do that because I really struggle going back to games with just the control schemes of older games.
Yeah.
Um, like I've got a friend at work. He's like a massive Resident Evil fan. Resident Evil tattoos, everything. He's like, I can't play the original first one. He says, I just can't do it
Yeah. I'm the same, to
because
be
of the
fair.
control scheme. He says my mom can do it, which is weird because his mom doesn't really play games, but I've seen her play it
Yeah.
and do well. It's just for me, I just can't get my head around of stopping and aiming and shooting. It's just for whatever reason, he's got a mental block.
I hate the
Um,
tank controls on the original Resident Evils. I
yeah, that's
hate
it.
them.
That's what he really struggles with. Because bearing in mind, he's like, what, 25, 26, something like that.
Yeah.
So he's a lot younger.
Yeah, I despise them with a passion. With a passion.
Yeah.
But you were saying anyway, God of War, you're struggling to get into that at the minute, or struggling to really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just like I said to you before. It's just like I don't care for the characters, and I think that's what it is. I
Yeah.
really just don't give a crap about the characters. And people may feel different. This may just be a me thing, but they just haven't grabbed me. And Atreus is more annoying than the first one, which I thought was quite an achievement. Um, and yeah, just everybody else's complaints that there's no real point in labouring on is that you walk into a room with a puzzle. It's like, why don't you try doing this? Chill out, mate. Let me just
Yeah.
have a look around, see what's going on.
Let's figure it out for myself. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that's all of it. I bought Sifu actually. I've not started that yet.
Nice. I was playing
It was
through
like,
Kena for the first time the other day. Actually, have you played Kena?
yeah, I saw you doing that. I think of that. I think I've got that off PS Plus.
PS
I do
Plus,
need
yeah.
to.
I
Do
think
need
you'd
to play
really
that.
enjoy that. I think you'd really
I
enjoy
thought
that.
that was supposed to be coming to Xbox at some point, but obviously not.
You know what it is? I think it still could. It's one of them things where I think it'll just be a random. It's out.
It's one of those things. I don't think there's any point now.
No, I don't
Like
know.
with
I
smaller
think
games.
people who haven't got a PlayStation, I think having played a good couple of hours of it now, I think they'd really enjoy it. It is quite a good game. It's got a good
I
little
think
mix
it's
of
more
puzzles.
just because it's a small studio.
Yeah,
It's like, what's the point? Like, I get with when Sony gets a 2-year deal for these larger games, it's like I can understand them doing it. But if I was a smaller studio, I'd take the money and then I start my next project. Why are they hanging about or putting resources into stuff that they could just move on to? And I think that's a miss for Xbox. But now with all these acquisitions, maybe they can claw back a little bit of mind share and things like that, and they'll stop missing on these things, missing out on these games, because a lot of it is Sony doesn't actually have to pay for exclusivity. It's
yeah,
just in the best interest of these these small devs to kind of go, well, if they're going to give us this X amount of money, really, how much is Xbox? How much are we going to get from Xbox?
yeah,
So we might as well take the money, and it's a cheap exclusive. Or they've only got like, it's how it happens with Xbox. What's his name? Your mate, you did the Viking game.
Oh, Joe.
Joe, yeah, he's like, I just don't have the resources. It's just me.
Yeah,
I can't, I can't put it on PlayStation as much as I love to. I just don't have the resources. I don't have the time. So it's a Xbox exclusive by default. It's a PlayStation exclusive by default.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's fair. And it was just the idea. Xbox team were just much easier to work with, I think, for him, and that's one of the key things, especially for smaller
yeah, I
indies.
think he's got that relationship because he's an ex Halo dev, isn't he?
Yeah,
So he does have that kind of, whether it's not directly with them, but they would have probably heard from him, or maybe had a good word from the guys at
Yeah.
Bungie or 343, whoever it was. I think it was 343 at the time.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
Joe, who used to do X, Y, and Z, he's doing a game. Do you want to have a look at it? Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, send us the details. Easier way, and that's PlayStation work in the same fashion. It's just networking,
Yeah.
simple networking at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, I think next year it will be. I think PlayStation's going to get worse before they get better when it comes to third-party stuff. Specifically next year, I think next year they're going to money hack a lot.
Yeah, there'll be massive money hatting, and I think even maybe the next couple of years, to be honest with you, especially if this rumor of them really pulling back with these halving the games of the service.
Yeah.
It's like, even if they cancel them, it's kind of like you're starting at day dot with a new project. You're looking at 3 to 5 years for a new project, to off the ground. So they could be in for like first party wise, I expect a hell of a lot of money hatting, but first party wise, a bit of a drought.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even know what's coming out next year, really.
First party, they don't realistically have any first party next year. There was meant to be Marathon, but I'm sure that's been pushed back.
In light of recent events.
And the only other game that they've got, which really we can temporarily class as a first-ish party game, a second party game, would be Final Fantasy Rebirth, because God knows when those are coming to Xbox.
So I don't count them as first party.
No,
it's a money hatted
timed exclusive. Yeah,
I don't get this. I mean, I don't get it with fanboys. I've seen both sides do it. It's more egregious on the PlayStation side at the moment because you see more of it. But when they go on about, oh well, here's PlayStation's games coming out, and they'll say a load of third-party games, and it's just like, well, that's a third-party game. Oh, I know, but PlayStation are heavily involved. It's like, no, they haven't. They wrote a check, gave it to them, and that's it. That's all they've done. There's no input. PlayStation's gone, right, your game's got X, Y, and Z. It just kind of makes me laugh. It's like it's not a first-party game. Why are you including it? Just because they dumped a sack of coins on the desk does not mean it's PlayStation.
Yeah.
Although I've got a weird view when it comes to that. Anyway, I don't think there's any PlayStation or Xbox games. I see them as individual developers.
Yep.
So when Sony bought, for example, Insomniac, and now they're going, oh, Sony just brings out bangers after bangers, and they're saying Insomniac. It's like, no, that's Insomniac. Sony has nothing to do with the talent from them.
Yeah.
They've bought the talent, and that's it. The talent, all the accolades should go to individual studios.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they're the talent. Unless you've got a Sony exec going, right, well, your game has to have X, Y, and Z, which is what Xbox used to do, and why they're in this position, because everybody's like, no, I don't want to do that. It's just, anyway, that's a little rant of how I see studios. I just, Naughty Dog, an amazing studio, nothing to do with Sony, other than the fact that they fund them.
Yeah.
Creativity, things like that. The way that, funding and marketing, they probably help with them. Obviously got some good people marketing, but that's it.
Yeah.
But what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've obviously, other than the charity stream, which I was playing a bunch of shit on that. So Party Animals, which actually is hilarious, and I would love to get a big group of people playing that. That is such a funny game. Have you played that yet?
No, not yet. Like I was saying before, it's the problem I have with my PlayStation is I have with my Xbox as well. It's just hard drive space.
Yeah.
I've just bought the Remnant 2 DLC.
Nice.
I was like, oh crap! I put Remnant in my hard drive on my external hard drive, not even SSD, and I was like, oh, it doesn't play off an external, right? So I need to go download it. Oh crap! Right, I've got too much things. So what am I going to move to the other one? And it's just like, oh, it's just a ball ache.
Yeah. I've tend to found it would do, because I've got a bunch. I've got like 300 games sitting on 2 external hard drives, and then I've got my internal stuff. So one of them has a bunch of Series X titles installed on that can't be played unless I transfer them onto the internal. But I've got them installed on the off
Yeah, you've
chance.
got that weird symbol, don't you, to say that you can't play it because it needs.
Yeah. So when I get round to them, I can just transfer it. Takes like 20 minutes, but still. But yeah, so I was playing that. I've been played a bit of PUBG again with Pat on the stream. Played a bit of Warhammer
Has
40.
that changed much?
I mean, it's certainly smoother. It's certainly less glitchy. There's no lags. There's no issues. There's a few maps. I've never played some of the maps that we played. But it's just a lot more streamlined. It's still the exact same experience we played previously. We've got like battle passes and cosmetics you can buy and weapon crafting and stuff you can do now. And so a bunch more.
The main problem I had with that game is I'm just hot garbage at it.
Yeah. Don't worry, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't changed. I'm still terrible. Pat carried me.
Yeah, it's just like I've got a mate who used to. He doesn't play it anymore. It was just like they'd done nothing with it. They keep taking all the fun maps out of rotation.
Yeah.
It's just constantly buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, and they're not really doing anything with the game. But he was really good at it, and whenever we got wins, it was purely because of him and his mates, not me.
Yeah, it's like me with Pat.
I'm just pretty much a spotter. There's a guy coming.
Yeah.
Shoot him. I'm trying, but I'm missing.
Yeah, he's over there by that tree. I mean, yeah, that which tree? Which?
I'm gonna have to call him out, but Fatal. I don't know if he.
Yes, Fatal Enigma. Yes, I remember those days.
One time, I was on. He was dead, and it was on Erin. Is it Erangel, the original map?
Yes, yeah, it's still my favorite.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's probably one of my favorites. That, and it was in a wooded area, and he was like, "Shom, it's by the tree," and I'm like, "I'm in a forest. There's all trees." Like,
yeah. Nothing but trees. Yeah.
I had no idea where I got shot from.
So yeah, it's still. I mean, it's still good fun. It's still. I still love the intensity of it. And there's no. I still think to this day, there's no other battle royale that has that final circle intensity that PUBG has. It's just a different thing entirely.
It does. It raises the stress level quite considerably. Whereas some, it's like not so much. It's like I like playing that game Breuer used to play, the Cursed something.
Right. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
It used to go under a different name. But yeah, it's Cursed. He used to play it a lot. And I've won quite a lot of games at that. I think at one point I was, for one season, I think I got down to 29th in the world.
Ooh, nice.
On the leaderboards thing. And then it's a sweaty game that though. You need to be constantly playing. The second you stop playing for a couple of days, you just drop down the rankings so quick.
Yeah.
Because it's based on kills, wins, time survived, things like that. But yeah, I got to like 21, I think, for about a week, and then just life took over, and I was like, I can't be asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But playing that it's not the same. There's not the same sweatiness. There's a lot of cheapness that goes in that because you got superpowers and stuff. But yeah, the sweatiness you feel in PUBG, I don't think I've even felt in Apex Final Circles.
Yeah. Yeah, PUBG, especially near the end, at the very end in PUBG, you're just like, Jesus Christ. Like, even when it gets down to the little bits, and it's like a house, and then nothing else, you're like he's in he has to be in the house. Then the circle goes, whoop, and it's like just slightly in a room in one house and slightly outside. You're like, fucking hell, like what is gonna happen here? Yeah. It's just mad, absolutely mad. But yeah, still, so I played that, and I've kept it installed because I'm gonna play it again. It's I've missed playing that game. Like, having played it again recently, I'm like, yeah, I actually quite miss playing this every now and again. So I'm keeping that installed.
I actually need to get a group together to play Halo.
Yes.
Just so I can get that flipping achievement of getting in a car, honking twice, and then people getting in.
I didn't even know that was an achievement.
Yeah, there's an achievement for that on Big Team. So you can only really do it on Big Team Battle because that's when you've got the vehicles. But yeah, you got to get into the car that doesn't have the chain gun on.
Right.
And then honk twice, and then you've got to fill all the seats with other players, and you get the achievement. So I've got that achievement, and then finish a battle pass are the only two original. I would have 1,000 out of 1,000 Halo from the original achievements. I've got more than 1,000 just from like the co-op stuff and things. Because I played the co-op
Campaign
with
on
some other people.
Legendary.
Yeah. Well, no, I did that anyway. I
Oh,
did the
yeah.
campaign Legendary with all the skulls.
Solo.
But yeah, because when they brought out the update, there was some co-op, and I played that with Esky and AFC Paul.
Oh, can he?
We went through the campaign with that. So I got some achievements that there's certain funky ones like I think it's melee a certain boss, the final kill being a melee and things like that. We've done all that. But yeah, the main original achievements is just those two I need to get.
I mean, I've got that installed again as well. To be fair, because I played that on the charity stream and played a little bit more Halo. Just as one of our favourite modes, and it still is still SWAT or Tactical Slayer.
I'm waiting for the firefight to come out. To be honest with you,
it's there in Forge, and you can play custom games because you can go custom games like lobbies, and people have created firefighting modes in that, so you can jump into those custom games. Just waiting for the official one to come out. I'll jump on that.
Yeah.
But they've got the Halo. Have you seen the Halo? They've just released an official playlist for Halo 3 throwback maps.
Oh yeah.
They've just released that now as well. So all of the Halo 3 maps are remade in Infinite in a special playlist that they've put up, like a legit playlist, not a custom games one. So that's live now as well. So I'm going to check that out, see what that's all about. That'll be good fun.
It's great how you bring back all these maps from old games that everybody enjoys, and they update them slightly, and they don't charge you 70 quid
Yeah.
for it. They do it for free. Call of Duty. Have you got Call of Duty?
I don't know. You know what it is? They haven't. The good thing is I've looked on CD keys as well, and having a look at the actual price on CD keys, it's not that bad for just the regular version. It's like 54 quid or something.
For what they're offering, yeah, I want to see that at 30 or 40 before.
Yeah.
Unless somebody wants to be really nice and gift it me, I'm just.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's the money. You know what I mean? I know Pat loves it, but for me, it's like that is not a 70 quid game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and Pat loves zombies. To be fair, he's been playing zombies for the first time ever because they brought zombies back.
That's the one thing I'm interested in, zombies, but still, that's not worth a full price game for zombies.
Yeah. And to be fair, and let's face it, let's call it a spade a spade. It is a DLC. It is not a new game.
Oh, absolutely.
They've just added it.
Have a look at the achievements.
Yeah.
It's all Modern Warfare 2. Tags to them.
Yeah.
It's a DLC that they've conned people to pay
For a full game. Yeah.
Quid for.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting, and I'm glad Activision no longer exists.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It will be changing. God knows when that'll be changing, but it will be changing. Thank God. But yeah, let's fingers crossed. Like I say, I will pick it up at some point because obviously I like quickly playing the campaigns, and this one's a little bit more of an open world, choose your own kind of way to
finish
the
a little bit lazy.
It is. But at some point,
no, I think actually, to be fair to the devs, lazy's not the right thing because they've only been given a short amount of time.
It was like 16 months or something.
18 months or something like that, and that's not on the devs. That's on
Activision
higher ups. That's that's on Bobby Kotick and thing. So it's unfair to blame them for being lazy. They're just doing the best that they can.
Yeah.
At the time they were given. So I'll be fair with that.
Yeah. But I'll pick it up when it's like 30 or 40 quid maybe, and play it a little bit then. Yeah. Or wait for that. But yeah, other than that, Kena Bridge of Spirits, like I say, and really enjoyed my time with that so far, but I have got other games to finish before I continue with that. But I wanted to try it out and see what it was like. Really enjoyable, good combat, good puzzles, really good looking game. I'm enjoying going through it, and I'm looking forward to finishing it a little bit more. And as we spoke, I've been playing a little bit more Started Ghost of Tsushima again, so I'm gonna whoop while we talk. Plunk over some Ghost of Tsushima. Hey, there we go. Gameplay, which is now on screen. It is from the intro, so you don't, well, the intro, the kind of opening-ish segment when you start to get into the open world for the first time. So, so yeah, you won't see much different. There's only like 40 or 50 minutes or something recorded, so I hope people enjoy what's there, and I'll switch the gameplay over to something else after that. But yeah, just a bit of Ghost of Tsushima again, play PS5 version. Enjoying it. I put it down a long time ago when I got it on PlayStation 4. Didn't pick it back up. I didn't get too far into it either, so it was easy to start from scratch, and
Yeah.
not kind of worry about it. I think what did I do last time? I think I did a couple of the main story missions and quite a few of the kind of Mongol camps, and that was about it. I didn't really get too far into it, so it's kind of like just me playing from like brand new again. Like I don't know what the story was about again, so it's nice being able to jump into a fresh game, should I say? And it looks
Yeah, I've got a
really
little bit
pretty.
too far. I've got too far to start again.
Yeah,
I'm like, I think I got to this, like I said, the second island. I'm literally just at the second island.
yeah,
I'm about 20, 25 minutes into that bit. So, the problem I've got will be is just like, when you put down a game for ages and you're like, oh crap, what are the controls?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I was like on this. Like, especially like I was trying to figure out, on the touchpad where you have to use the wind direction thing. It was like
Oh
swipe
yeah,
to,
yeah,
to
yeah.
do the wind, and I was swiping right, and I was like, why is it not working? And he kept pulling his sword out. I was like, what's going on? But only to realize it was to swipe up for the wind, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's like I was trying to before Alan Wake 2 came out, I was like, you know what? I need to finish Control.
Yeah,
Let's load up Control. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm in the where I've last played it, I'm in the middle of like a challenge. And I'm just getting thumped because I can't remember what I'm doing and what my powers are and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, we'll put this down for now. I'm not in the mood for dying continuously.
yeah, yeah. No, I know that feeling. Um, yeah, and so yeah, just getting used to it again, getting used to the controls. I did die on this playthrough that you see on here because I'm still getting used to it again. But that's it. It's a beautiful game, really good looking. Again, good acting, good characters, good environments, good combat. There's not really much to complain about with the game. To be fair, it's a beautiful looking game that I think probably should have got a little bit more plaudits than it did. I think it did get quite a few, but still, it's again, it's one of them games we mentioned before with the Second Son and things like that, and Last of Us when it came out on PlayStation 3, and you think, how did they manage to do that? I think Ghost of Tsushima graphically is one of the games on PlayStation where you think, how did Sucker Punch pull this off?
Yeah, they've got some obviously very talented developers.
Yeah, really, like they're really making the most out of the console. Like, there's only a couple that you can kind of really say that about for Xbox last year, and you would probably look at Gears 5 and then probably Forza Horizon or something like that, where you think when you look at it and you go, how did they manage to get this to work like that on the previous gen Xbox?
Yeah, Gears 5 is for Xbox is the other one is insane. It's a very, very good looking game.
Yeah, yeah, especially the HDR
Um,
implementation and everything that they got in that, it was just beautiful. Some of the set pieces and the settings were just insane.
yeah, definitely. That's what makes me really interested to see what Hellblade 2 is going to be like.
Yeah, yeah,
Because thing is, obviously, they're very good.
yeah, and really taking their time, like really, like doing as much as they can, taking as much of the time as they can to really make it as detailed as possible, and technically, what would be one of the showpiece games, should we say? So we've just
Yeah,
got to hope.
I want to see the other thing that they're working on, Project
Project Mara.
Myra.
Yeah,
Yeah, Myra. Sorry, yeah, that looks amazing in terms of like the screenshots. If that's like what the game is, that is borderline photorealistic, but it's like it's great having a photorealistic game, but is it a fun game to play?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's like a psychological horror game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only supposed to be short though. It's only supposed to be a short, a smaller game.
That's all right. To be fair,
But
I like it
mainly,
when they do that. When, like, even if you have to think of Obsidian, like, they brought out, like, Grounded, then they've got, like, the Outer Worlds and Avowed, and so they've got a bunch. Um, but then, like I say, then you've got Avowed. No, wait. Is Avowed Obsidian? It is, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought as much. I was like,
yeah,
wait,
yeah,
yeah. um, so yeah, but then you've got Grounded, which is like a much smaller experience. And granted, you can make it as big as you want because it's essentially a sandbox game, but um, it's good. It's good to have these studios having different kinds of experiences. Like, okay, this is like what big showpiece AAA action psychological horror game, and this one's our tiny little psychological horror game that's like 5 hours long. Um, like and completely different like palettes, entirely different palettes, but in and like much one's bite size and one's like really in depth. Takes a long time. I like that. I like
yeah.
when studios can flip and make a smaller experience. So yeah, it's awesome. I think that's all I've been playing recently. To be fair, I think that's it so far. Um, oh, played and finished GoesseN. Played and finished GoesseN. Have you played
Oh, is
GoesseN
that
yet?
the climbing one?
Yes, that's like
No, I've heard really good things about it though. I've heard quite a lot of people say
six,
good
seven
things about
hours
it.
long max. Um, you
I might
can go
add
and
it to my
do.
list then because I'm only 3,000 away from getting 300,000 gamer score. So
Oh, well, that's an easy one. So for that one, it's a lot of it's as you're climbing and going along, you've got like little stone cairns where you put the little rock on top. So you need to find them, put the rock on top of them. There's like little temple things where you have to go in, find them, and then spin them, and then activates, and that's you need to collect them, and then you need to collect journal pages and letter pages, um, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the stuff just comes as you progress the game. So there's like collectibles that are achievements where it's just exploration. There's nothing difficult about that. There isn't a difficulty achievement.
yeah.
Um, and then there's daft things like on the last level you've got that little blue thing that you see in the trailer. That's like on his shoulder.
Oh yeah,
Um, on the very last level, there's just an achievement for like hugging him tight. So you just do both triggers and he holds them tight and he holds them against his chest. That's an achievement. So there's like daft little things. There's one for like pet him like 10 times or something like that, or 20 times. So you can just stand there and do it in a row. There's really basic stuff, but the premise of the game, it is just a story game, but the climbing aspects are really good. So it's like left trigger,
yeah.
right trigger. So left trigger's your left hand, right trigger's your right hand, and you grip it to grip, and then you let go to let go of the grip, and then obviously you're doing it like that, slip by slip, and you're like trying to figure out
Yeah.
where you need to be and how long you need your rope to be, and you put your little belay clamps in and stuff like that. It's actually really good, and it's like I say, it's not a massive. It took me just over 6.5 hours to finish the story of it, and I think
Okay.
maybe another hour and a half to find all of the collectibles and things, and I've got it installed so I can go and continue playing it and get the
So
collectibles.
it's sounds more of like a palate cleanse
Oh,
game.
absolutely. And it's beautiful. The story, the music's really good. It's nice and calm and relaxing. So yeah, it's one of them games you can just sit and chill out on. It's fantastic little. It's another one that I'm gutted didn't get a shout or at least a runner up for indie game of the year. It's a lovely little palate cleanser. Really nice little story. It's about basically the world's like the entire world's went to shit and it's dried up, so there's no more water. So you're climbing to the top of this mountain to try and find the source of the water in the clouds. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, we're just gonna go back actually 2 seconds because we have a new entrant. Oh, he's there, but the camera's not loading up. What's going on here?
Huh?
He's here. I can hear him.
I can hear him. What is
You
going
can
on?
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can't see you though, but I think you know what it is.
No,
My web browser's going bonkers.
no,
There
I
we
can't see
go.
him on the actual
There we
screen. I can see
go.
him.
There he is.
Ah,
How's it going?
hey, what's up?
Well, how is it going? How's it going?
Oh, there he is. I'm well behind on the stream.
It's going well, going well. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. We're just rounding up things that we've been playing, like the games we've been playing. But how are you doing today, Boxy? What you been up to? What you been playing?
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired. I just actually got back from work. I had a work dinner this evening, and so I just got home actually. But I'm doing good, and I'm excited to be here, man. It's been a while since we had a midweek mix-up podcast.
It is. It's definitely definitely a little while. What you been up to anyway, Boxy? What you been playing? What's your games so far?
So I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk lately. Started the Phantom Liberty DLC or extension add-on, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. I'm really hooked. I love it. I think I'm actually already nearing the end of this. At least it feels like you never know with where these CD Projekt Red storylines go, but
Yeah.
it feels like I'm nearing already the end. But it is really really good. They've changed so much in the game. A lot of new systems and mechanics in there. They optimized a lot of the already good existing stuff, and yeah, man, I'm having a blast with it. Other than that, I've played a little bit more of Alan Wake 2, which is
Nice.
still phenomenal, but super stressful. And
Yeah.
with the long work days and everything that's going on, this game is simply stressing me out too much. But it is a great game. Deserves the praise it's getting. So yeah, that's mainly what kept me busy.
Nice. Awesome stuff. And is there anything that's on the horizon games wise that you're looking forward to play or?
Yeah, man, I mean, almost all the games have come out for this year. There's only Avatar coming out that I'm looking forward to. I love the Ubisoft games,
Yeah.
so cannot wait for this one. It looks fantastic. Other than that, I'm going to catch up on a bunch of stuff that I've missed through the course of this year. So I still haven't finished Sea of Stars, which I'm actually enjoying very much, playing that on my Ally. Going to finish that, and then I'm hoping for a Final Fantasy 16 sale during Black Friday.
Yes.
So
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
shout, actually.
Yeah, I need it. I said I was going to jump in. Dazzy Baby keeps telling me to play it, so I'll have to at some point.
I've been keeping my eye out on Vinted for it.
Yes, it's a good shout actually. Or CD. Well, see, that's the thing. You can't even get like Link and PlayStation with a non-digital bollocks.
Yeah, you have to buy disc for
Yeah.
PlayStation
Pain in the arse.
because they're so consumer friendly.
Yes. Oh, how we love them for that. How we love them for that, aren't they? Just fantastic. Oh dear
Yeah.
me. But
So what have you guys been up to?
yeah, so we were talking. So Shom's trying to finish off God of War, but he's not massively enjoying it. Which is fair. He's not enjoying the characters very much. He thinks Atreus is even more annoying in this one, and to be fair, I can't disagree. Atreus is definitely more annoying in this one than he was in the previous. But yeah, I was just talking about finishing GoesseN as well. And obviously, I love that.
I hear a lot of good things about that game.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing. That's what I've been finishing off anyway. Obviously, on my charity
Sweet.
stream, I've been playing Kena. I've been playing PUBG again. Been playing Party Animals, which is actually hilarious and really funny. And I'd love to get a big group of us onto Party Animals and play that, because that would be hilarious. And just started going through Ghost of Tsushima again, which is what's on screen now.
Can never go wrong with that.
No, never go wrong with Ghost of Tsushima. And obviously it's a PS5 version, and I've got the DLC and thing for it as well, Iki Island or whatever it's called. So yeah, I'm enjoying going through that again now, and it looks beautiful, plays really well, combat's cool. So yeah, that's what I'm going through there as well. So
good stuff. Yeah,
indeed. But yeah, we've got one major topic and one smaller topic today, and of course we're going to get into it because the major topic happened to be the awards ceremony that's coming out next month. And it's a different approach that I'm going for with what I'd like to talk about with this awards ceremony, because there's a number of things wrong with the Game Awards this year, and it's becoming blindly obvious that it's just not put together correctly at all. So aside from the fact that, of course, certain games missed out on the Game of the Year nomination, personally for me, as much as I enjoyed Starfield, I don't feel like Starfield was a Game of the Year nominee. For me, anyway, it wasn't a Game of the Year nominee. I really enjoyed the game. It was great fun. Enjoyed some of the stories, not all of them. There were some really lackluster stories in that game. It was the least buggy Bethesda game that they released. But I don't feel like it really, to me, it certainly wasn't on the level of Skyrim for me in terms of what I would remember for a Bethesda game. Like it didn't hit that mark. So I don't mind that Starfield missed out on a Game of the Year nomination. But Hogwarts being snubbed entirely from every category in the Game Awards, to me, was an intentional move. There is absolutely no way you can tell me that every panel member thought that Hogwarts was not deserving of any award for what that game did. None. So apparently it wasn't good enough for story, it wasn't good enough for art direction, it wasn't good enough for music or sound or audio, it wasn't good enough for Game of the Year or RPG. So I don't understand it. Having played that game, it being the most popular and most commercially successful single-player game this year, Bonon, it was like 20 odd million units. It's now available on all platforms, including Switch, as of yesterday. And they've released all of the additional outfits and cosmetics and everything to all players. And all the Twitch drops are now available to all players. There's additional stuff that went there with the release on Switch as well. I think Hogwarts being snubbed was insane. I just don't agree with it, and I don't think politics should come into the decisions. And I feel like this year, the reason Hogwarts was snubbed was for political reasons, for the whole J.K. Rowling stuff, for the fact that they were really afraid to get the backlash of what happened when Hogwarts Legacy originally released, and all of these guys were getting slated and hammered for even reviewing the game. They were getting witch hunted if you streamed the game or talked about the game. You used to have people coming into your DMs and abusing you essentially, and trying to cancel you. It was just absolutely ridiculous, and I think that is the reason why none of them chose to mention Hogwarts at all. It doesn't make any sense otherwise to not have that game included. Outside of that, then we have to talk about the games that were included in categories that shouldn't have been. Speaking of RPG, Lies of P going into an RPG. Lies of P is not an RPG. Why is Lies of P in an RPG category?
And it's true.
Then we talk about indie games, and there's a non-indie game in the indie game category. Dave the Diver is not an indie game. Dave the Diver is owned by Nexon. The studio that made Dave the Diver is owned by Nexon, which is not not an independent company at all. Even the developer said, although it might look like an indie game, we are not an indie studio. This is not an indie game. They said it themselves. It's not. Yeah, granted, it might look like one, but we're not one. That was included. They also had the esports category, best esports coach.
I was about to say that.
One of the guys that they nominated for best esports coach, quote tweeted the tweet and said, "Listen, guys, let's be serious for 2 minutes. I didn't even coach this year." So he was like, "What are you doing? Like, what kind of research are the 120 panel members, experts, doing that they put games in wrong categories, nominate games for genres that they're not part of, and then nominate people that weren't even working on that this year, in the last year?" Like, it baffles me. And then Jeff, as always, you'll mention it to him and you'll be like, "It's not me, it's the panel. I just do the announcements." No, Jeff, it is your show. You created it. You chose the panel. This all rests on you. It's your decision making. Ultimately, it's you that made the Game Awards. It boils down to you and your choices and your understanding about it. So it does fall on you. It does fall on your head. Don't shirk responsibility and push it onto somebody else. If there's an issue with the show which needs to be rectified, such as games being nominated for things that it shouldn't be, and I think in a year as well, just to finish it off before I finish this rant, in a year when we've had so many brand new amazing IPs and brand new amazing games, for remakes to be nominated for Game of the Year, regardless of how good they are, I think is a really shitty move compared to every other brand new game we've had this year. Like, I just don't. Personally, I wouldn't have Resident Evil 4 or Dead Space remake included in the Game of the Year category. Is no matter how good they are, they need to come up with a new category for best remake or best remaster or whatever it is. Best remake / remaster. That needs to be a whole new thing. And give the Game of the Year category specifically to new experiences that have come out within the last 12 months. That's what I think it should be. So personally, I would remove Resident Evil 4 Remake out of that. It's a game that's already had its time. It's already had its nominations in the past. It's already had its day in the sun. The game's beautiful, don't get us wrong. It's a great remake. People loved it. But it's had its plaudits previously. It hasn't done anything new other than a fresh lick of paint. And it looks good. Great. Fantastic. But then Hogwarts, Starfield, and the numerous other brand new experiences that have come out this year should have been at least given a chance to be in that category. I don't think remakes should be in a Game of the Year category at this point. Not when we've had a year full of so many brand new experiences. Even Hi-Fi Rush, for crying out loud, that wasn't an indie game. It was essentially a AA game. That one definitely within a shout for being nominated there. And then you have a look at Final Fantasy 16, which people loved, which is it's Marmite game. People loved, people didn't love. That should have been in with a shout of being nominated there. But it's just I just think the organization of it really, and people are saying, yeah, but who else does an award show just like it? Well, if you take out the announcements and the reveals, it's just the same as every other award show. It's just the same as a BAFTA. It's just the same as the Golden Joysticks. The difference is Jeff gets these reveals that goes on screen, which is why people tune in. If you remove the reveals that Jeff gets for his award show, game reveals and announcements out of that, it's just any other game award show. So realistically, any of those companies can do it. Any of them. Jeff just manages to pull together the announcements, the reveals, etc., which is why people tune in. Remove that. It's the same as any other award
show. You make a lot of sense here. I feel like for many years now, people are not excited about the actual awards, but more of the trailers. It's basically the game show, the the trailer show that we get at the end of the year. We have the E3 showcases.
Yeah.
In the middle of the year, in the summer, in June, early summer, and this is the one we get at the end of the year. But the awards themselves, I really don't know if anyone really tunes in because they want to see the celebration of the awards, which is kind of weird because at the very end of the day, the Game Awards are still the like most important award show thing. I mean, there are others out there, yeah, the golden joysticks and so on. But yeah, the Game Awards are the most important one in the industry. And you brought up a lot of points that just show how ridiculous this whole process actually is. I mean, the list of fails of this goes on, and you brought up a couple of great points. Resident Evil 4 being a remake, being named for Game of the Year. Yeah, okay. What are we doing here? This was like the Game of the Year 15 years ago, but not this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then political reasons obviously being the big factor. Matt Pescatella from the NPD came out earlier today and posted actually this year's sales numbers, and Hogwarts is still the best-selling game of the year. And you're telling me that this isn't included in any of the categories? In none of them. This isn't just a coincidence. There is an agenda to this, and I think this just takes away from the entire credibility of this whole award show. Yeah. The most ridiculous thing is something. Who was it who came out and actually spoke about that? I'm not sure if it was In Exile or someone from Obsidian, but the deadline.
Oh, Pentiment. It was the Pentiment developer.
The deadline for submission is today.
Yeah.
15th.
Yeah.
15th of November is the deadline for submission of Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Or any nominations, and they announced the nomination 3 days in advance.
Yeah.
You can already tell that this is obviously simply a fact that they don't give a fuck about making this show look like it's a legit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is agenda driven, it is purpose driven, it is not about trying to find objectively as good as possible the best games of the year, the best sound designs, the best visual designs, the best games in their respective categories. It's about an agenda. It's about an agenda to support the biggest media outlets out there, and we know what their agenda is: clicks.
Yeah.
And what generates clicks? It's not Xbox. It's not smaller indies or something. It's PlayStation and to a certain degree Nintendo. And that's what's represented there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Jeff Keighley always coming out. I'm not responsible. You nailed it, man. Yeah, I even believe him that he's not sitting there and telling people not to vote for Xbox games. That's not. I truly believe that's not the case.
Yeah.
But if you only the vast majority of the votes in the committee, you can go to their website because they post that shit online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the Kotakus, it is the IGNs and GameSpots. And again, those outlets are biased as hell, we know that. For years we know that, yeah, and that's for multiple reasons, yeah. That's obviously the thing what I already mentioned, that a fuck Xbox article or a yay Sony article simply gets more clicks than reporting positively about Xbox. So that's simply their business. That's why IGN and Kotaku and so on do the things they do.
Yeah.
And the other thing is obviously the very, very strong influence that Sony has on these media outlets, be it through actual blackmailing about putting them on blacklists and funding certain things. So yeah, and if you let those vote, there's no surprise what the outcome is. And I get that taste is very different, very different. And we are sitting here in the panel with us three, and we have an awesome community out there. And you can ask every single one of us, and we will definitely nominate different game of the years. So Hogwarts not being nominated for game of the year, yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. I think it deserves to be in there. That's my personal opinion. But objectively looking at this, the most successful game of the year,
Yeah.
the
By a
most
country
successful
mile.
game of the year couldn't manage to get nominated in either of the categories.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not agenda driven.
Not a single
Is- is
Can you
nomination.
remember what? Can you remember what people used to say when it first came out about Hogwarts, as in a positive way? How
People loved it.
feels like
It was
they're there,
a
you know,
magical world. Great
I feel
recaption
like
of
I'm in
the.
Hogwarts. I love exploring everything from the films and the books. I love it, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing, because the media are cowards.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, what I don't
Yeah.
get is you'll get a game, say, what is it? I think the Sunken City, I think it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Lovecraft based game
Yeah.
off of
Yeah.
Lovecraft lore. Now, for all of you that don't know, Lovecraft is from a certain time in our history, and he was an extreme racist because that was just accepted at the time. But now we look at him and we'll say he's a racist. No one says anything about that. They'll say, I love Lovecraft, I love books, you know. Whereas J.K. Rowling, it's like, what's she really done?
Yeah.
It's like she's not really done anything. She's got a couple of controversial views, but she's not hurt anyone. She's not said that you should go after certain people or things like that. Whether
Yeah.
you agree with what she says or you disagree, that's, you know, personally for you.
Yeah.
But this whole cancel culture and people being so afraid to deal with it,
Yeah.
and I just find it funny. It's just like she had nothing to do with the game other than it being her created world.
Yeah. It's like a mini witch hunt. It's like a mini witch hunt against anybody who associated themselves with Hogwarts Legacy. Even though she had
that's the
no
thing.
involvement.
I totally agree with everything Sham just said, but that's the whole thing. The Keeley and his team are simply too afraid. If they nominate something, they might get some people starting a shitstorm against them
Yeah.
for supporting the game in any way, shape, or form. Yeah,
And why
And-
is he afraid?
because he has no balls. That's the whole thing. That's the exact same thing why the committee is like it is. Because if you would actually care about trying to find a balanced opinion of media sites and influencers to get like an actual object as good as this is possible, there's no such thing as an objective judgment of the best games, but getting a well-balanced jury will help you to get as close as possible to that. But he also doesn't care about that.
No, he's
Yeah,
afraid
he'd
that
rather
any
have.
controversy and people kick off will affect advertising revenue. That's what he's afraid of.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah,
You can see that it doesn't matter that he doesn't care about the awards. He doesn't think that, because like half the awards will be given and announced during adverts. There'll just be a little ticker at the thing. He's saying so and so won this, so and so won that, this team won this. There's no kind of come up on stage, give a speech for some of it, because it gets in the way of advertising time.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it just doesn't make, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. Like you were saying with the some of the nominations, you know, the person saying, I am not even doing this year, why am I nominated?
Yeah.
RPGs, indies. But another thing that people haven't picked up on, and I think it was what's his name, Josh Sawyer.
Yes, yeah, Pentiment Dev.
Pentiment Dev, yeah.
And yeah, it was in his complaint about, you know, it not being, you know, having the cutoff date and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like, and this is not. I've okay. Let me go to Boxy first. He's like, what's the narrative or the like for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game? Spider-Man 2. What's it like? Spider-Man 2, because unfortunately, Every have screwed me with my copy of Spider-Man 2. I'd hoped to have played it by now, but it's not coming. Does it deserve to be nominated?
for best narrative,
Is the
Boxy.
story...
I wouldn't
I'm not
go.
saying you saying it's, you know, no is a bad game. It's just, should it be in the top 5
No. Well,
from a narrative point of view?
not you could tell, you could put it in the narrative. The narrative was pretty awesome, and it was great pacing, great dialogue. You could put it in there. I could see that. I mean, it's up for debate, yeah. But I don't think that particular is the problem. The problem is if you look across what games get considered and do not get considered, it's just that games that create the headlines, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is, I think that is really the issue, because you could also argue about tons of indie games having a fantastic narrative, but they are never going to be nominated in a significant way because they simply don't create the headlines. So yeah, Spider-Man, in terms of a narrative, I loved the narrative. It was well written, great pacing. You could put it in there, but does it deserve to be in like almost every category that matters?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
have
the
it.
thing-
We have it in best audio. Why?
Yeah, best
Why?
innovation. It's in there for best
The game has
innovation.
one. Yeah.
This is like one of my. But thing I was going to actually bring it up. You've kind of beat me to the punch. Is like, I'm a bit like Dutch. I absolutely loved Starfield. I put in
Me too.
almost 100 hours in the first week.
Yeah,
But I'm still kind of like, should it be in Game of the Year? I'd swap out Resident Evil 4 and it could sneak in there, but I don't think it would stand a snowball chance in hell for winning versus. I think everybody pretty much unanimously agrees that it's going to be Baldur's Gate.
yeah.
And if it's not, then there'll be an uproar.
Yeah.
I could live with it if it doesn't win. It is definitely my personal game of the year. But I could live with it if it doesn't win, but not being included there, it just shows me, and basically also excluded in every other category as well. Why isn't this game in best audio design?
This is what I'm trying to say. Is like when you listen to the soundtrack, when you're on the spaceship, just the gentle hum of the spaceship going along, the audio, the dialogue between your crewmates that are just chatting and talking crap between each other. I struggle to see how Spider-Man can beat that in a way.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a slight against Spider-Man. I'm not trying to downplay Spider-Man being a good game or anything like that. I just kind of think sometimes you look at it and go, how is that beating that? And that's what I was
Yes,
trying to
like
get at with the narrative thing is like what Josh Sawyer was saying. How is my game supposed to beat anything else? Because it was last year. People have forgotten about it. They don't even consider my game a 2013, which would have been 2023 kind of game. And it's like, I would say just the narrative of what's it called? Pentiment should be in the consideration. Come on. It might be a smaller, like you said, AA or single A game by a small team, but the narrative and a murder mystery set in Middle Ages times, versus like I've not played the game, so me saying a generic comic book superhero game is probably a little bit disingenuous, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm like I said, I'm not picking on Spider-Man 2. It's the easiest thing to point at because, like Boxy, you said, it just seems to be nominated for everything.
Yeah, it does. It shouldn't be in best. It shouldn't be in best innovation. It shouldn't be in best audio. There's numerous things where you're thinking, well, what's innovative about this Spider-Man? What have they done to innovate the genre? What
You can
the Spidey 2 does not innovate.
You can fast travel in 2 seconds.
Okay. Great.
But you could do that in White Riders Republic as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So
with an SSD, of course.
Yeah. But like what is it like? That's what I'm saying. Like it's just the fact that some of these games, like Spider-Man, it's not to say that it won't be nominated in Game of the Year. That's fine. But I think it's disingenuous to say it's best innovative. I think there's nothing innovating about Spider-Man 2 at all. I think it's be slightly disingenuous to say it's got best audio. In comparison to some of the games that come out, it's not even anywhere close. Narrative is a debatable one. Again, anybody can say, "Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the story," and other people can say, "I didn't really enjoy the story." That's the one where it's kind of grey line. Like it can be nominated, it can't be nominated. Same for Game of the Year. But I'm much more inclined on that front, much more inclined to put Spidey 2 in there than I am to put Resident Evil 4 Remake because it's had its time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't it win a Game of the Year when it came out?
Resident Evil 4
I
Remake.
don't think so.
Resident Evil 4?
Original Resident Evil. I think it might. Resident Evil 4 might have been nominated originally.
When the original Resident Evil 4 came out, we didn't even have the Game Awards yet.
I think it was.
I'm not talking about the Keeleys. I'm just talking in general. It won Games of the Year, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. At the time when it first released, it did. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. Like remakes or remasters in whichever one. They shouldn't be considered. They've had their time in the spotlight, unless they do something radically different. But then they're not really a remake or a remaster.
Yeah, and that's no slight against the devs, because of course we know they put hard work in making these games look fantastic for current gen systems and play fantastic in current gen systems. There's no slight against the devs that put the hard work in. But these games have been out. They've had their time. This is just a fresh lick of paint. Give new IPs and new experiences the time to shine. Give them the plaudits first.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it was a year when we've had next to no big AAA releases of worth, then fair enough.
Even then, come on.
If for instance we've had like only 2 AAA games that year,
talking about 2022.
If we've had like 2 AAA games that year, then you go, yeah, we're gonna have to fill this up somehow. But when we've had
there are always great indies.
Oh yeah, of course. But then they shove them into an indie category, and then shove non-indies into an indie category, and then they shove RP. It's what we've got to deal with. It's just mad. It's absolutely mad.
But I just think a lot of the people who vote for this stuff haven't even played the games. I think a lot that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people voting for the Game of the Year are just like, well, we've got our 4 crap. Resident Evil 4, that's a good game. Everybody like that. Okay, let's vote for that.
Yeah.
Because they have no experience. They've not played the other games.
And I think David Jaff went on a big rant as well, and I think he had some points. I'm going to quickly pick up on some super chats though and a donation. So we had a donation quickly from earlier on from Aaron Summers to the charity. So of course we're raising for Special Effect. The link is clickable at the top there if anybody wants to donate anything. Aaron Summers donated £10 plus £2.50 gift aid, and he just says not much, but every little helps. Honestly, every little donation is much appreciated, so don't worry about how much the donation is. It could be £2, which unfortunately is the least you can donate, and it could be £100. I don't care, because every little helps, every little gets closer to the target and helps disabled kids and severely injured people in intensive care be able to play video games and connect with their friends and relatives that otherwise might not have been able to due to their injuries or disabilities. So yeah, massive shout out for the donation there, Aaron. Thank you for that. Gets us a step closer. We're on 75% of target now, so much appreciated. And shout out to Fanto Sir as well with a 20-month member chat there as a midweek mix-up berserker. He said Hogwarts, Diablo 4 pre-season 1, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, and Spider-Man 2 are my most played games of 2023. All deserve recognition, but politics. Roll your eyes. Yep, I agree. The politics surrounding specifically Hogwarts, and even then, like I say, this actual story for Diablo 4, like the campaign pre-season 1, Diablo 4, fantastic campaign. Loved the story. Lilith was absolutely fantastic. How that story and that actress did not get brought up for or included in the nominations for best lead role or anything like that for a game for Lilith, because Lilith's character was brilliant, so well acted. And it's one of the first times I've played a game where you're kind of half rooting for the bad guy, because Lilith was such a good character. She was an evil character, but such a good character, and at the end of that game, you kind of like, was it the right thing? Was it the wrong thing? Like, what are we doing here? Like, so well done. So yeah, I've got to agree. I think Diablo certainly could have been in there as well. Again, over Resident Evil 4, personally.
How did it not get best art direct or
Yeah.
nominated for best art direction in terms of the cutscenes? Those cutscenes were amazing.
Oh god, yeah, yeah. Especially even the opening segment cutscene was just insane. I remember everybody watching that opening segment cutscene on Diablo 4 and just thinking, "Holy shit! Like, this is insane." You're muted.
That's what Blizzard always
Yeah.
does so well. The cutscenes are
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, listen, this year is probably going to go down as the best year in video game history. Up for debate whether 2007 or this one takes it. But definitely the best or second best year in video game history. And there are tons of games that would deserve it. Yeah. You could argue there all day long. Yeah. From Hogwarts to Star Wars to Diablo to
Jedi
Zelda
Survivor?
to yeah.
Did that how actually what did Jedi Survivor get nominated for?
Nothing.
I don't know
No,
if they are in any of the subcategories.
No, I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't think they did actually. I don't think they got any.
Yeah, I'm not. So, yeah, the list goes on. There were also some amazing smaller titles.
Yeah.
The aforementioned Sea of Stars. Yeah, Cocoon, GoesseN. You mentioned that. There's tons of games. Then of course we had the heavy hitters, yeah, with Baldur's Gate, with Starfield and Spider-Man and Forza and there's Alan Wake now and Mario Wonders, and there's so many games you could choose, and that's the game. You can only nominate 6 and not 10 or 12, which you could easily do.
Sorry guys, be right back. For some reason, StreamYard has decided to crash. We'll be back momentarily. I will get the other guys in here. Oh dear me.
Microsoft released.
Hello! You have to start again, by the way. StreamYard crashed. So, what were you saying there, Boxy?
All right. We back live?
We were live anyway. StreamYard just decided it wanted to kick me out. So
Okay, but we're still online.
yeah, we're still
right?
online. Yeah, we're still online.
Did everybody else hear what Boxy was saying?
No, it was
think
just me
so.
on screen for a
No.
bit. It was just me and my microphone because it kicked me out of StreamYard.
It was a rousing rant. No, but
You can't do that
it's
again,
right.
man. It
It
when
came
it
from the
flows from
chest.
the inside, it flows from the inside.
It
It's
flows from the heart. But
yeah, exactly, man.
basically, he was saying that it seems a bit odd that Sony has one really major first party, and it seems to be
Exactly.
voted in or nominated in pretty much every major category.
Yeah.
So
and it doesn't make real sense.
it really doesn't. They had Spider-Man, which again, I really enjoyed Spider-Man. Not saying it doesn't. It's not deserved to be in Game of the Year or so, but it's so obvious if you look at through the categories, like Sean said, they are in there for best narrative, best audio, and so on. And then you look at the Xbox side of things and what they have actually released this year, with Starfield only being in one category, and that is best RPG. And like you said, Dutch, earlier, they don't even know what an RPG is. Otherwise, Lies of P wouldn't be in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, can you put points into a skill tree? Oh, you're an RPG. There we go.
Yeah. It's it is just ridiculous. And then and even with categories that go into the next year, so like most anticipated game, how can Hellblade 2 not be in there?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what? Everybody talks about Hellblade 2. How is that not anticipated?
And this is what annoys me so much about these awards. We are giving them so much credit. As the gaming community and industry, we're paying so much attention towards these game awards, and everyone is talking about it. And at the end of the day, you can't take them serious. Because yes, again, it's up for taste, and my list is probably different than Sean's and different than Dutch's, and everyone's list here in the chat and in the community is different. I get that, and I still think that Starfield still would at least deserve to be in there in the nomination for Game of the Year, because it was just an insane experience. And I'm with you, Dutch. It might not hit the same way like a Skyrim did, but it is still one of the best RPGs I've played in a very, very, very long time.
Like I say again, it personally, as much as I think it doesn't overall in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't potentially deserve to be in Game of the Year as a final standing. I would still have it over over Resident Evil 4 remake. I just would. Like, as what the game did, like as far as what the both games did and what they released, the content they provided, everything included in terms of experiences, Starfield objectively was a better experience overall than Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was good, but it was a remake. It was a very well executed remake, but it was still a game that we've played before that's just had a lick of paint. Starfield is a brand new, massive, brand new, expansive universe that's took a decade to create. Brand new characters, unbelievable audio design, really amazing vistas, crafting, shipbuilding, base building, stories left, right, and center, character arcs that you can go through, and it doesn't get anything but Resident Evil, a repaint of a game we've played a decade ago is there instead. Come on.
I think Starfield...
and that's the thing, if you look at this, what Starfield did so well is like, they probably didn't invent as many new gameplay mechanics per se, but they really elevated the phrase open world into something new, an open universe. The scope of the game is just insane. And all the different gameplay mechanics that they put in one game, it's not just the typical Bethesda RPG where you walk around, kill a bunch of dudes, get the loot, and move on, and so on. You have base building in there. You have dogfighting in there, the shipbuilding mechanics, and all those things, they intertwine so well. And I can't think of any other game that did it in such a meaningful way. And the problem with Starfield is that you have to invest a relatively large amount of time into it to get the true reward of the game, because the more time you put in, the more rewarding the game is. And that's what mainstream media sites don't do. It is so obvious, and we've seen it over the years in so many occasions where big media sites didn't finish games for a review. They play the game 2 hours, 5 hours, be done with it, write the review, capture some footage for a video, and move on. And if you play Starfield like that, obviously you're not gonna be able to judge what this game makes so special. And I just look at this, and it is not just that I feel that Starfield is being snubbed. It is the fact that we have such a high bias when it comes to these nominations. And it is either the fact that PlayStation simply gets better clicks on these websites. Yeah, that's the one thing. And then there's certain personal relationships when you know that Jeff Keighley and Kojima is his good buddy, about the preference there and things like that. And it just shows and it really doesn't matter into which category you look. You look at best ongoing game. Yeah.
How did Sea of Thieves not get in that again?
Yeah. Or Grounded, or something like that.
Sea of Thieves just released the Monkey Island DLC this year and added PvE mode and all this brand new content and seasons again. The amount of updates they've had to that. How is that not the best ongoing game?
Yeah, and then you look at best community support, and you find things like Destiny 2 in there. Come on, this is a joke, and not a Halo. Yeah.
Well, it's even more of a joke on Destiny 2 with the fact that they fucking let go of the community support managers.
Not even that, it's come out that the devs were, the ones, a lot of the devs were going, look, we need to listen to the community, and they've gone, nah, this is how we make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this is what I mean, yeah? So, yes, Starfield got snubbed. If you look at the actual Game of the Year list now, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is undoubtedly deserving to be in there. You can argue about Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2 also deserves to be in there. Probably wouldn't make my top 6 list, but I can see that. I can see that. Then Resident Evil, we already talked about the remake things, and then we talk about Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Listen, it's a fun game, no doubt, but it does nothing special. It's just another Mario 2D side-scroller, and that's it. I don't think that in a year where we had such exceptional games, it should be in there. And then you can argue Tears of the Kingdom, yes. Probably, I don't know if it would make my top 6 list, but I can see it being in there. So, yeah, but then you have to ask, of course, the question, where's Forza?
Yeah.
Why is Forza not in best audio?
Yeah, it's a good shout. Huh? I want to go back to best ongoing game as well and shout out an older game that's constantly released. God knows how many updates have released this year alone, but State of Decay 2. If you actually think about the amount of stuff for the ongoing support of that game, because it's best ongoing game, it is a live service game.
Yeah.
State of Decay 2 this year alone, I think, has released 3 or 4 expansions to that game. Just this year alone. Regardless of how old it is, it's about best ongoing game. And if you really look, if these critics These experts are really looking at best ongoing supported game and what they're doing for the community. There's few and far between would disagree that the devs behind State of Decay 2 haven't released mountains of additional content for that game just this year alone that deserve it above many of the category entries there. So it's wild. Like, this is why I doubt the capabilities of the critics that are involved. Like, they need to completely, like, maybe streamline the panel. I think 120 is obscene. Why do you need 120 panel members? And how do those 120 boil down to 6 choices in each category, or 5 choices in each category? Like, how do they boil them down? How do they come to these agreements? And what research have they done? Have they actually played or researched all of the ongoing games and looked into their content and said, oh yeah, that's released a lot of content. Oh yeah, that's very well supported. Oh yeah, this has done this.
All the time they just look at the Metacritic scores.
Yeah. Or like the esports coach thing. You're telling me none of the 120 panel members realized that one of the coaches had not coached at all for that esports season.
He even came out and asked them to remove him from
Yeah.
this list
Yeah.
because he didn't coach. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, man.
But then it boils down to legitimacy, and then you think, Jeff, you're gonna have to stop shirking responsibility. Ultimately, it is your game awards, and overall, some of these decisions that have been made by your panel and or you don't make sense. You've got games in the wrong categories, people getting nominated that weren't there or haven't been there. You've got best community support to Destiny 2, which didn't listen to the community. Like, the community have come out as well and said, like, why? Like, when we asked for things to be added, you went against it and ignored what we were requesting. And then you also, not only that, but those that were trying to work and fight for the community were let go. Like, the community support staff that were there trying to fight for the community were got rid of. They got panned. So it was like a sick joke. Like, the entire thing, outside of the whole Xbox agenda stuff, but just in general, the entire thing is so mismanaged that specifically this year worse than any other year. It's just in disarray. Like, the categories don't make sense. The games that are going into certain categories don't make sense. And some of the nominations are just like, are so just obvious.
I think with Keeley is that I do believe him when he says a lot of it isn't on him. And because I think he palms a lot of it off onto other people. Because in my opinion, the guy's a massive narcissist.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to deal with the day-to-day stuff. He wants to be the face. He wants to be... the fact that we call
take
it
the plaudits, but not take the criticisms.
That. Yeah. He's not interested in the day-to-day running, how things operate, how things are voted for. He just wants to be recognised as the guy that puts on the Game Awards, because he is. He's a narcissist through and through.
Yeah. Yeah, he wants the plaudits. He doesn't want the negativity.
So he just palms it off because he does it. There are other people that do the jobs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He wants to wear his funky trainers and his velvet blazer or whatever he likes to wear.
Yeah. And you know what it is? The funny thing is, like, I don't know whether or not anybody's seen David Jaff's massive Twitter post. But David Jaff put a huge post up saying, listen, if this awards ceremony for what it's trying to do, which is being an awards ceremony, wants to be taken seriously, there's a few changes I'd like to see. And one of them is critics should not be allowed to vote on a category if they haven't finished at least 50% of every game in that category. I think that's a good shout. If not 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the critic voting in the category hasn't played each of the games in that category to at least 50%, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. Good shout. I guarantee 120 critics haven't played every one of those Game of the Year nominations to 50%. I guarantee. Some of them haven't played them at all.
Look at the size of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
I don't think many have played 50% of Baldur's Gate.
Nope. Definitely not. So especially 120 of them. So there's a good shout. But personally, for me, and again, this goes for the same with reviewing, I don't think you should really be able to give a full vote on what a game of the year would be without having finished the game or the story of a game, at least minimum finish the story. And we've seen reviewers time on time again from certain big sites having not finished a game before giving a review. Like
Yeah.
they're already putting their article out as a review in. Like don't why put a review in progress in? That means that you're already making your mind up about a game before you finish the game. If you haven't finished the review, what's the big deal? If you haven't finished a review on time, who cares? Post it when it's finished. You don't
I would
like
say have as an ongoing thing. I do think some companies are fault for that when you give a reviewer 3 days before launch. to
yeah,
review
yeah, it's a
game.
bit different. But then you state that, and you just post it when you're done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's all nobody wants to see a review in progress. They want to see the review.
Mm-hmm.
Most people click on the review, scroll right down to the score system, have a quick look at the positive and negatives, and there you go.
Yeah. And you can tell from the very beginning, like they'll have review in progress. Like this game is such and such, however, and you're like, okay, that's all automatically like this guy hasn't even finished the game, and that's already I know that's a negative review. You're like, like you know what I mean? Like specifically games like Starfield and Baldur's Gate, as we've mentioned there, two massive games, massive games, and people writing the reviews without doing some of the side quests. Like I remember there was afterwards one of the guys. He was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you could do this." He was like, you reviewed the game. How did you not realize you could do this?" "Oh, I didn't play this side quest." Why? As someone who's a reviewer, you didn't play the side quests. Some of the and these aren't even the tiny side quests. These are mainline side quests.
Yeah, some of
The big
4
ones.
or 5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you're reviewing a game, you've got to take in every bit of content. Like, I don't care what it is. If we're reviewing a game, I take in every single section of that game, regardless of whether or not I want to play it. Like the online, if it has an online mode, like looking at the storefront to see what the storefront's like whatever it is, you have to go into it and detail it because that's not you're not reviewing the game as an entirety if you're not doing everything that game has to offer, whether or not you're not doing ship building or base building, or you're not like seeing what the full dialogue system is between characters and how that can negatively or positively impact the rest of the game, or specifically for Starfield, like the New Game Plus adds an entirely different dimension to it, and when you get into New Game Plus, you then got an option of doing something entirely different and missing out the story, or replaying the story again. You've got those two different options. Now, there's not many of them that actually dived into that in their reviews, which tells me that they didn't get to the full completion, and they didn't know what New Game Plus offered, or the additions that New Game Plus has to offer. And again, it's the same with Baldur's Gate 3. Like, everyone praised Baldur's Gate 3 to the absolute hilt, but none of them mentioned what happens beyond Chapter 2. Chapter 3 was an absolute technical mess. It was buggy. It was buggy as hell.
Yeah.
It was broke. Because they tested the living daylights out the game with the community up till the end of Chapter 2 and didn't test it with Chapter 3. You could tell the reviewers hadn't got that far. So none of them picked up on the fact that the game was buggy as hell. They were like, "Oh, it's one of the most polished games ever." And as soon as people got their hands on it, they were like, "Yeah," up until the end of Chapter 2. And as soon as you start Chapter 3, it's just like there's so many bugs and issues and quality control problems. And those are the things that that's what critics aren't doing. So I have to agree with David Jaff there and say, listen, you've got to at least have played half of the games. Sorry, 50% of each game that's been nominated in that category to be able to vote. Absolutely, it's a good shout. Good shout entirely. But I think critics also need to know what genre each game is in to be able to vote for them and put them into certain categories. Because it's an embarrassment to put a game like, just because a game, as you mentioned, Sean, just because a game has a skill tree doesn't make it an RPG. Otherwise, Forza would be in there. Forza Horizon would be in there. like any game with a skill tree would be in there. That's just not true. Like, Lies of P is not an RPG. And like Dave the Diver is not an indie game. I don't care if it looks indie, it's not an independent developer. It's owned by a giant corporation, a giant publisher, Nexon. They've stated themselves, we are not an indie game. It's an indie style. Like, it looks like that.
Yeah,
but
the art style.
Yeah, the art style is kind of more indie, but it's not an indie game by any stretch. And what an indie ultimately is, and everyone's like, yeah, but, and we've had this debate on Twitter, regardless of what you think, indie has not been redefined. Indie still means independent developer, free from a giant publisher. Now, granted, some indies have publishers that they go in case by case scenario, like Wired Productions or Devolver Digital, etc. They're still ultimately owned and control all of their own publishing deals, so they have to work with that publisher and still pay to the publisher for a fair amount to be able to get that game elsewhere. But they ultimately have the choice to break away from Devolver and work with somebody else, or break away from Wired and work with somebody else to publish the game, or self-publish. They are still very much indie games, independent on the development, independent on the funding, because Devolver and Wired do not fund these games at all. They just help with the publishing. Those are indie games. This is why, like, ID at Xbox, all of the games released under that, regardless of the support they've been given, Xbox don't release these games. They just assist them with the development progress. They're like, okay, here's some tools, and here's a support member so they can help you with the development process. That's it. It's still ultimately an indie game. Those are independent developers that are self-funded and self-develop. Dave the Diver is not. Dave the Diver is owned by Nexon, who fund that game. That is not an independent game. That's fully funded by a giant corporation, a giant publisher. Entirely different kettle of fish. When the developer tells you, much like the coach guy, we aren't indie, and I am not a coach. Like, when both of them are saying that, you've got issues. You've got it. There's so many indie games released this year that got overlooked. They shouldn't. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. I just think it needs an overhaul. But Jeff needs to actually step in, take responsibility for the fact that there is some massive inaccuracies in the way that they're nominating games and nominating people for certain things. That it does need an overhaul if he wants the award section of his award show to be taken seriously. Because right now, nobody takes the award section of this award thing seriously. And even developers are starting to question it. When you've got developers coming out and questioning things now, then you've got an issue. Like, Josh Sawyer shouldn't be coming out and going, what's the point in releasing the game at the back end of the year, knowing that my game is going to be ignored?
It's money. It's so that they can advertise for Christmas.
It's just mad. It's absolutely mad. Sean, I want to get to a more positive spin here. Having played a whole bunch of games this year, and this is our own opinions. What are your top, and depends on how many games you played this year, but we'll say top 5 games of the year. Any order.
Oh, that's put me on the spot. I don't even know what I've played this year, to be fair. It's just everything blurs into one.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it just?
I'm just trying to think. I'm going to have to turn my Xbox on and actually have a look at my achievements. Where's my gamepad? I'd definitely stick in Alan Wake 2 and Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
I would, for me personally, those two. I was going to say, I never got to say it before. It was on my mind and I completely forgot, or we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
But when you look at like Starfield, it's not just like the story and things like that. When you actually look at the technical side of things, when you've got each planet has its own atmosphere, which is directly influences the light that hits the surface. It's got its own time it takes to go around the sun. Each one has its own day. I think technically it's an extremely well done game. And I think sometimes it's just nice to we just go on the planet, we go, ooh, pretty, take a couple of pictures and take off again, and we don't actually appreciate probably the hard work that's gone into making that ooh, pretty moment.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I'd have it up there, to be fair. This is me. I am just stalling until I find my achievements. To be fair. So, uh, I would probably stick in. I know we. Oh, no, actually, no. I'm not going to stick in. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Sea of Stars.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I've not finished it yet. I'm a fair amount through. I know Vin finished it, and I was like, "Oh, it must be quite a short game."
Vin
It's not.
100% it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. I saw it before I went. I've played what 20, 24 hours.
Yeah.
Played of it. But that's like that does give me good old school. What do you call it? RPG, Nintendo, vibes. What else have I played?
I'm just going down and have a look at mine as well, to be fair.
You see, there's some, but I kind of
maybe I jump in while you search.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it. You might probably trigger some memories with me because I say I played a lot, but there's some that I wouldn't really put in game of the year, like Remnant 2. Really enjoyed, but I don't think I could put it in a game of the year category, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So top 5, Dutch.
Yeah.
Top 5 would definitely be Hogwarts for me.
Yeah.
Diablo.
Yeah.
Of course, Starfield.
Yeah.
I would definitely put those 3 in the top 3, and then I have 2 spots left, and now it's going to be tricky because I really enjoyed Baldur's Gate. I think I would put that in as well. And now I only have 1 spot left, and there were just so many really good games I played. Spider-Man was fantastic. I really enjoyed Jedi Survivor. Jedi
Survivor. Yeah.
Always get it mixed up with Fallen Order because for so many years we said Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order, and then I know this was an exceptional game. Tears of the Kingdom was also just a really good game.
Yeah.
I still haven't played. Still haven't finished the Phantom Liberty DLC, but Phantom Liberty is also.
Could we give DLC Game of the Year though?
It really isn't just DLC. It is full-fledged add-on. But yeah, we shouldn't probably. But hey, if we can put in a Resident Evil 4,
true.
At least Phantom Liberty is new content.
Yeah.
That's new content. And I'm not taking away from Resident Evil 4 because it was a phenomenal remake. I really enjoyed that one too. Yeah, it is tough. So my last spot, I might probably actually go with Jedi. Because I just thought it was. I smiled from start to finish playing this game.
Yeah.
And that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
With all its issues that it had, but I just had so much fun. The combat you just felt like a badass Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, it was beautiful. There was just it captured the Star Wars lore so well. Great story, great characters. Really amazing set pieces you visited there. So yeah. It could easily be Spider-Man 2. It could also be Alan Wake. I haven't finished it yet. Halfway through, I would assume. But it's also really good. There's just so many awesome games this year, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean, have you thought of yours yet, or?
I don't think I could give you 6, to be honest with you. There's quite a few games I've
Oh,
played,
we get 6? I thought we only get 5, Dutch.
Oh, is it 5?
Yeah, just a 5. Just a 5, yeah.
Oh, 5. I don't think I'd give you 5, to be fair. I've played quite a lot of games, but something that I've enjoyed, but I couldn't actually say these are the best.
Yeah.
Or they're amazing. I would add Hi-Fi Rush to my list.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
And
good show.
I've played
Good
quite a
shout.
lot of games. I've played quite a lot of games that came out last year. To be fair,
Yeah.
that I didn't play last year.
Mm.
So
No,
can't
that's
remember what I
fair.
said
I've
now.
done the same as
But
well.
I've-
I've only just recently started Dead Space remake as well.
That's what I was going to say that I was going to put in there, but then I was like, I'm a hypocrite if I can't say that Resident Evil 4. If I complain about Resident Evil 4
Honorable
being in
mentions.
Game of the Year, maybe honorable mentions, or if you want to stick it in the sound design, because the sound design
Oh,
for
God,
that is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, there's a lot of okay games I've played, but nothing that's kind of like this is amazing. It's just a good game that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like I said, a lot of the games I've played to get this year have also been from last year, so or even beyond. To be fair,
Good show. Well, for me, Hogwarts is the top. That's my game of the year personally.
Hogwarts, yeah, that should be in my list as well.
Yeah, Hogwarts is top for me. Hi-Fi Rush is up there at the top. I thoroughly loved that game. I absolutely adored the story, the way the music kicked in with certain segments and the music choices, the official music choices aside from the streamer choices, was really well done, really well chosen. The characters were really good. The story was really enjoyable. The combat was fun. It was easily accessible. They added all the accessibility modes in as well for those who aren't great with beat timing, etc. So everybody could enjoy the game. And added a load of features as well for those who couldn't hit on the notes to unlock certain sections. So massive shout out to them, especially the fact that it just dropped out the blue, which has added benefits to them, of course, because it was just so well done. It was literally no bugs at all in the game. There was no issues. It was a flawless 60 frame 4K game that released out of the blue. It was just perfect. It was just a perfect release. You couldn't have asked for a better release from a game.
Just how the world reacted to the music,
everything,
as well.
yeah.
It wasn't just a boom boom. What you could get cues of pretty much any object just going boom 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 boom. So it's just the animation for that can't have been easy.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. The entire world, like you say, the entire world reacting to the beat so that you couldn't lose the beat because everything was bouncing to the beat. It was like, this is so well done. So well done. So yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, Hogwarts naturally, because again, those are two games. Hi-Fi Rush I haven't 100% because they've got difficulty modes that are like insane, and I will not be good at those. But finished Hi-Fi Rush, destroyed Hogwarts Legacy within the space of 10 days at 100% that.
Oh, that's well done.
Yeah.
That's my one criticism with Hogwarts is that the extra stuff just got boring really quick.
Yeah.
Like, the padding out of stuff. Find these, do this, solve these riddles.
The only thing that
They
bugged me on
got boring.
Hogwarts was just the fact that you had to get the map chamber with every house. I was like, no, this is going to be
Oh,
so
really?
boring. And
You
it
gotta play
was.
the first hour and a half for each house.
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost 2 hours every time. It was like hour 45, and I was like, I've done this so many times now. I was like, it's like 7 hours of monotonous now. But I did it because I loved the game. And there were some benefits to doing that anyway, because with Hufflepuff, for instance, you go to Azkaban, where you couldn't do that with any other house, and there was like a different
Yeah.
opening mission for each one. So
That
at
was
least,
like, how could we make people play the dullest
yeah.
house?
How can we
Let's
make
give
them
the
replay?
coolest side mission.
Yeah. I mean, it would have helped. I think it would have helped if, and again, because we know Hogwarts Legacy 2 is in development. Hallelujah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It was like a mini leak, but it is in development. Yeah, you can't not after the success of the first one. It was like phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Financially.
Yeah, financially it was just insane. Like $1 billion in its opening week or something. Like what? Like what? But I think for the next one, what you can do to make people want to play through each house or have extra replayability is have extra, like each house has multiple decent house specific quests like long quests that you go on for each house that are entirely different for every house, an entirely different like story arc for each house would make sense. Granted, it's a lot more work, but
Yeah.
that is a unbelievable amount of replayability.
But a sequel should be a lot more work. 'Cause
Like
you have
like
to
you say,
build
like in
on what you think
Slytherin,
of.
for instance, like that house is renowned for having dark wizards and things like that. So realistically, what you would do if you're in Slytherin house was have a story arc where you are dark, or you go down the dark path and things like that. Like you play on the house, you play on the characters that you would be if you're in that house. Like granted, you get the like the
Yeah.
dark arts and things like that where you can do like all the Avada Kedavra, but every house gets that. So like play on that, I think, for the next one. That would give more replayability and more reason for people to want to play through again as a different house. But for a studio that had only made Disney like tiny Disney games, like these little B games, to bring out a game like that was insane. Like none of us expected it to be as good as it was, and it just blew our socks off. So
Yeah.
yeah, phenomenal. Another one that is, and I'm just going to go on AAA first. Well, AA slash A, as opposed to indies here, because I've got a bunch of indies. But shout out to Street Fighter 6 for me. Street Fighter 6 was a return to form for Street Fighter. Phenomenal work that they've done on that game. An open world segment that nobody expected. The online for Street Fighter 6 was so well done. Like it was so simple to just go into an open lobby. You can go into Europe, go down to a lobby that's got one person in, and say, right, everybody who wants to play, jump into Europe 14, and everybody can jump in there, and it's seamless. You can just jump in, have fun, sit in an arcade unit. Anybody, you can fight anybody at any given moment. It was so well done. Like the networking on that game was phenomenal, and the game design, the characters, the costumes, everything that they did for that game was just really well done. It was good to see Street Fighter back on every platform again, and it was just so well implemented. It was a really great year for fighters with Mortal Kombat as well coming out this year, and of course we've got Tekken next year, and we're getting the update for Killer Instinct within the next couple of months, with this or next month to bring that up to current gen as well. So it's a good year for fighters, but Street Fighter 6 gets a shout from me there as well. Diablo 4 does get a shout from me, mainly just for the story. I thoroughly enjoyed the pre-season 1 story with Lilith and everything that happened with that, and even like the end segment where Inarius and Lilith are kind of going head to head with each other, and that sequence there. Like I didn't expect that to happen, and I hope everybody's finished like Diablo 4 story now. But I didn't expect Inarius to go down like that. I thought he would put up
Yeah.
much more of a fight when he came up against Lilith, but she just tore him a new one, like as if he was nothing. So yeah, it was just awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed the story of Diablo. And then we're talking a toss up between a number of games for the final one for me. Now I could be talking Sea of Stars, I could be talking Starfield, and I could be talking Jedi Survivor. I would still put Starfield in as me fifth and final one. Just because of the just the sheer size and volume of the world, and I really enjoyed the world and the universe that they created. Yes, it didn't live up to the Skyrim experience for me. But when I compare it to Jedi Survivor, I enjoyed that game, but then the end pissed me off. I did not like the end of that story. I thought they cut the story short in order to make another one, and I thought that was I just thought it was a weak end. I thought that could have been a much better end. It could have been a much better layoff for the next game than that. I thought it's when the credits started rolling, I was like, there is absolutely no way that's the ending. That can't be the end of the game. That can't be the end of the story for Jedi Survivor. Like, surely there's more to it. There has to be. Like the big bad boss that you've been thinking about all the way through Jedi Survivor isn't the main. That isn't the final boss. The final boss is someone entirely different, and you're like, okay. And then it ends after that, and you think, okay, we're going to go after this guy. No, nope, that's not how it is. There were some really cool moments, like the fight with Darth Vader was awesome. But again, you don't get to fight him yourself. You get to fight him with a secondary character. There was a few things that irked me about the story on that game, but the gameplay was great. The gameplay was fun. The worlds were great. It did resolve some of the issues I had with the first one, where everything kind of felt the same and you went back to the same worlds over and over again. You did revisit certain areas multiple times again on this game, but it wasn't anywhere near as annoying as the first one, where you kind of just went back and forward to the same planets repeatedly on Fallen Order. Now, at least on this one, you did have a bit more variance, which was good. And I would nominate Sea of Stars up there, but that would be disingenuous because I haven't played enough of it as yet to nominate it in there. Although I am thoroughly enjoying my playthrough so far. Shout outs though secondarily to a few indies that I've played this year that I would put in my favourites for this year. GoesseN was absolutely phenomenal. Ravenlock was an absolute treat. And there was another one as well that I wanted to give a shout out to that I was playing through here. I haven't played through Cocoon all the way through, so when I get to that, there's no doubt that might go in there as well. Planet of Lana. God, I love that game. Planet of Lana was phenomenal. GoesseN was phenomenal, and Ravenlock were phenomenal. Really, 3 awesome indie games.
Right, Planet of Lana was really good.
Yeah, so well done. Great story, really awesome atmosphere, and again, great soundtrack. Soundtrack for that was just insane as well. So yeah. So those are mine. What would you guys? I want to give 2. Here's a fun one. 2 games that you consider misses, letdowns for the year. Boxy, I want to start with you. Your big letdowns for this year.
Well, that should have been good, but didn't be.
Yeah, should have been good. You were super excited for it, and ended up being you missing the mark.
I mean, it's really no secret that Redfall fall short.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had high hopes for that. We don't get proper, vampire games that often. And this was just really not a good game. And it wasn't even the graphics or the 30 FPS. It was just stupid mission designs. Shooting felt really bad. There was nothing in this world. So this was really definitely low.
Yeah.
And what else? Was a real letdown. See, I didn't play that many bad games this year.
Yeah. Which is good.
Because yeah, which is good. There was just always something awesome to play.
Yeah.
So I had to think hard about the second one. What do you guys say?
Yeah, for me, Redfall's definitely one.
Caught me on a second one. Is like I think everybody can agree with Redfall.
Yeah, Redfall. I mean, it was. We summarized it a while back when we were talking about how we felt about the game anyway. But Redfall was just an okay game. Like,
no, I don't think even that. I think it was a bad game. There was really nothing okay about this.
Yeah, I think okay as in like it kind of works. It was. I mean, as a multiplayer might be somewhat okay. I think was it me and you, Boxy, that played one of the multiplayer missions?
Yeah.
We were like, what we're doing here? What are we doing? We're just searching for things, and then we're like, right, now find a key. Okay. And then what? Now find this. Right. Okay. Then what? No, that's it. That's done. Mission over.
I think the best thing about Redfall, is that it evened out my gamer score. I was like stuck on a a 42 or a 52 or a 53 or a 57 or a 58, and
Yeah.
it got me to the 0 and 5 again. I was like, I ain't touching this game again.
Yeah.
It's like because I don't want to get another achievement to upset the balance.
Yeah. Yeah. It had really awkward achievement scores, which was all really awkward for people
I
who like to do that.
hate games that have achievement scores that aren't 0 or 5. But it's like with Redfall, the first part, I was like, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's
Yeah.
not great. And then I got through to the next area, and it was just the same again, but double the size of doing the 2 missions, then finding the vampire lord, then going to the next safe house, doing the 2 missions. I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm just so bored. So I just rushed through it, got to the end of the game, and deleted.
Yeah.
I have no aspiration or interest to go back. AFC Paul and Esky was like, "You fancy playing this? You know, it's co-op. It's got 60 frames." I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm good."
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably a lot more fun with 2 or 3 players more, but nah, we're good. We're fine. Let me go pour bleach in my eyes. That'll be a more fun experience.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
And I think for me, one of them that I haven't played, and there's a reason why I've put as a disappointed segment here, and the reason I haven't picked it up as yet, was the new Call of Duty. Selling that as a $70 game, £70 game, €70 game, whatever it is, and it being quite literally a DLC. It's not even an actual game. It's a DLC. Like, you go into the menu in the hub, and the achievements are in the same category as the Modern Warfare 2 achievements. They're all in the same list. It's not a new game. It's an add-on. It's a story add-on with fresh maps. It's
sorry,
not a
Pat,
game.
but you were ripped off.
Yeah, it's not an actual game. It's just
It's a 70
you're paying
quid DLC.
70 quid for the 3-4 hour story and maps that you could add on to Modern Warfare 2.
Should have been about 30, 40 quid at most.
Yeah, it's just taking advantage of the community. It's not like that's a letdown when you expect, like, you know what Modern Warfare 2 story was, and you had the whole like teaser of like no Russian, and I like the plunk his phone in the thing, and everyone's like, yes, we're gonna do all these like mint story missions again, and it's gonna be amazing, and then it comes out and it's like what is this? What are they doing? And then again, like we say, we can't really blame the developers all too much because they were forced to do it in like an 18-month time span. Like, get this done and out and in there within 18 months. So that's Activision hierarchy, and there's some benefits yet that haven't been taken over. We hope Microsoft sorts that shit out because that's taking advantage of the consumer, like, to nth degree. That is not $70 worth of game. It isn't. It's not even an actual game release. As we found out, it's all interlinked with Modern Warfare 2. It's just the same game. They've just added, here's an extra little bit of story. See you later. And some maps.
It's almost as bad as when they charged you full price for the is it Black Ops 4?
Yeah.
Or when they didn't have a campaign at all. It was just multiplayer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good shout.
Yeah, see, about Call of Duty, I've never been a Call of Duty multiplayer fan. I occasionally play the campaigns, but I do that when I get them really, really cheap in a sale or so, for 20, $30. And then I have a good time playing this 5-hour campaign, which is similar to a Michael Bay movie, like good action, good popcorn experience, but there's really not much to this.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always seen like Call of Duty. It's okay to play like a little bit campaign, but yeah, the multiplayer was never really for me. But yeah.
Any other letdowns for you guys? I know there's one in the chat there by Sappho that thankfully none of us picked up. Gollum.
It's not really a
Yeah,
letdown. It's
I haven't
just
played
nobody
that,
had high
so
nobody had high hopes for it, so it's not really a letdown.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody
I
looked
never
at that
thought
and
that
went,
game would be good anyway.
"No."
I don't know why they chose
Yeah.
Gollum. Like, who looked at all of the characters in Lord of the Rings and thought, Gollum's the one. Gollum's the character we need to make a game about. What, out of all of
No,
them?
I kind of get that. I do kind of get that. You know, Gollum is like, you know, his origin. Well, we know his origins from the movies, but you know, between these two times, but it's like it just didn't look appealing,
Yeah.
especially the art style they chose.
But then even then, like the chosen art style wasn't what the art style was when it released.
Yeah, true. That is true.
And even like all the
So I
text
do.
things, I remember when people were showing off what like the dialogue text and things that were like pre-release, and then when it released, it was like done in paint. Like it was like, what is going on here? Like even the text that's on screen's terrible.
Yeah.
So bad, so bad. There's a good shout
It
as well
was
there
really
for an indie that was disappointed in Somerville, and I've heard that from a couple of people actually. Somerville was disappointing for quite a few people.
Yeah, that's something I still need to complete. But coming from one of the guys that made, oh, what are they called now? I can see the two games that they made, but I
What
can't
was it,
think of the
Inside
names.
and things like that? Was it those
That's what?
Was it the guys that made Inside and things?
Yeah, that's it. Inside.
Yeah, and Limbo.
I was having a brain for that moment. Limbo and Inside. Yeah, that was it. I expected high hopes for that, but I kind of got out of the house at the very beginning,
Yeah.
and I've not really progressed further than that. And yeah, it's just like when you saw the trailer for it, it was just like, oh, that looks good. That looks really good.
Yeah.
And then when you play the game, it's like it's not a bad game. It's just I don't know whether it's our false, you know, when you kind of overly thingy in your head,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't live up to your expectations. Where it's not a bad game, but when you go off the last two games, it's nowhere near as good as the last two games this guy did. And I know it's a different studio and whatnot, and he's one of the brains behind it, but it's not as good.
And I would even say the same for Last Case of Benedict Fox. I started that game. I got about an hour into it.
Yeah, that's a good
And
shout.
I was like, what am I even... Like, there is zero direction to this game. Like, where am I going? What am I doing? What do you do with the puzzles?
I put that game down and went to go back to it, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because there's no direction. There's no little sort of hints to go this way, go that way. I was just wandering around for 10 minutes. And
I was just looking at the map, and it was like just the map opens up, and then it doesn't tell you where you need to be going next or what direction. You end up going around in circles. You're like, where the fuck am I going? I beat like the one boss thing that you go up against at the beginning, like the proper boss, and I was like, okay, so now what? Where am I going? I've no idea. For an indie game,
the
you
whole
need to...
thingy of it, I thought was actually really appealing.
Yeah.
The setup and everything, and I thought this is gonna be a good game. But like you said, it's got no direction. If you do put it down and you go pick it back up again, you have no idea what you're doing.
Nope.
You're better off just starting again.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't be bothered doing.
So yeah.
But did you guys speak on the lot? I know I listened to your last podcast.
Yeah.
Because I made a comment about you messing up with
Yes.
Rare making.
Yeah. It was
Thingy.
Lionhead. I know.
But to be fair, I was I was listening at work, so I was half paying attention.
Yeah.
Did you talk about the AI stuff, the AI controversy?
A little bit, yeah, we did, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you what your thoughts on the whole AI
Yeah,
controversy.
so if it was the fact that AI is completely taking over narrative creation, etc., then yes, there would be an issue. But I think our thing was, when we spoke about it, the devs and Microsoft and Xbox have all clearly stated this is a tool to enhance the developers. It isn't a tool to take over the developer's role. So it's like your developers can choose to use these tools in order to enhance the AI or enhance the narrative that they're creating, or give them potentially, if they're going, right, okay, this is the direction I want to go, right, we'll take this in and see what this comes up with, right, okay. All right, okay, that's a cool little story thing. I need to refine it because, of course, AI just gives you like sometimes it just jumbles up and gives you some over complex stuff. Right, we'll change that, add a little personal spin to it. Right, great. Or the AI can have a little bit more intricacy to it that you might not know how to do. It's a tool to
Yeah,
enhance the developers' skills and skill sets, not to take over it. And I think people were
yeah, and
looking at it as a tool that would take over developers. And
I think that's what's her face, Alana Pierce. That was what her little outrage thing was.
yeah,
And I don't think she quite understood or looked properly into what the partnership is. And I completely understand where she's coming from. You know, she's employed as a writer
yeah,
for the God of War thing, and all of a sudden, if you've got this thing that could potentially take your job,
yeah,
you're going to be a little bit upset. And I completely get that.
yeah,
And there will be some game studios, EA,
yeah,
who will look at profit and probably sack people and go, we'll get AI to do it. But my opinion is that AI doesn't create, it mimics.
yeah,
Um, and as long as you have these writers who create these worlds, create these backstories, things like that, then they're going to be safe. What the AIs do then will take that backstory and implement that into a game. Um, like the way I'm thinking of writing an article on it and then maybe seeing if someone like Season Gaming wants to publish it because I've had a really like spent the last week thinking about it because the way I kind of see it is can you imagine these days if you had a Picasso
yeah,
like he doesn't exist but he exists now and you try and he puts into an algorithm his thoughts, it won't create what we know as Picasso because that hasn't been created. AI needs to copy something that has been created
yeah,
and maybe alter it a little bit. It can't create something new. It can't do a Van Gogh. It can't
exactly.
do a Picasso. It can't do a Pollock. It wouldn't be able to do it because it has no frame of reference.
Yeah,
Um, and this is the way I see it: is like you're in a game and say Elder Scrolls 6 and you're wearing this armor at the beginning of the game and you walk past these people having a chat and they're going, have you seen his armor? What a pile of crap that is.
yeah,
Um, and then as you go through the game, you get better armor thing, and they're going, I've seen that guy's armor, flipping heck, look at that.
yeah. Oh
And it's
God, he
just
must have spent a
those,
lot on that because he's upgraded it from the start.
yeah, and because
Like something
like,
that references you from the past. God, look at that. He's definitely
yeah,
upgraded that.
I mean, how many times in Skyrim did you hear the arrow to the knee? Because there was only limited,
Yeah,
limited scripts for each person. Whereas if you can have something where it takes what you've done in the game, or it takes a backstory. And I know this; it's been touted a couple of. I've heard a couple of people mention this VR um, mod for Skyrim, where they've created this new character, this new thingy, and the person keeps pronouncing their name incorrectly, and the AI starts getting annoyed, going, "No, no, no, my name's this," you know, you're saying it wrong, kind of thing. You can't really write for that, or you could, but it would take years. The amount of dialogue that was needed, where if you've got something that just kind of complements and adds on to rather than taking away, then that's where I think, or by the sounds of it, that's what Microsoft is partnering up for. The building on the narrative isn't replacing writing a story,
yeah,
it's just enhancing and making something better. And especially in the at times where we've got what 5, 6, a game studio will bring out a game a generation at the moment
yeah,
because it takes so long. So if you can narrow that down, if you've got your core writers who write the story, and you've got some that might like you can get writers to create these in-depth backstories that the AI can use to enhance the game rather than having a quick he was born this time, this happened to his mom and dad, there you go. You can create these massive, childhood moments and things that can be then used by the AI in the game
yeah,
for each NPC.
yeah, yeah. It's to enhance, like you say, it's
Yeah.
to enhance. It's not to overtake. And you
Yeah,
see,
and as soon as somebody starts using it to overtake, then I would take the stance of Ilana and be like, I don't think I'm going to buy this game. If you've just sacked 30% of your writing staff in favor of saving money and get an AI to do it, then I completely agree with her. But
mm,
if it's just something that taking what she's written, like I don't know what her capacity is. I don't know if she's a main writer or whether she's a writer for some of the side quests or thing. I don't know where she sits within that hierarchy.
yeah,
But if her job's put into jeopardy because of AI, I completely agree with her.
Yeah.
If not, it should just be enhanced. She should, what she creates, the AI would then go, right, you've given me this bulb and I'm going to water it and I'm going to have this massive tree out of it, and your story is going to turn into this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Anything you want to add to the AI debate there, Boxy, that we covered from last week?
Oh, I think you guys pretty much covered it. I mean, we talked about this last week extensively.
Yeah.
There's the pros and cons of this. The con definitely being the fact that it's at the end of the day a multi-billion-dollar business, and companies are companies.
Yeah.
They are not your friend, and they are here to maximize their profits. And it is only a matter of time before people will be replaced. But then, of course, it has also good chances to enhance a lot of things. Yeah, and yeah, we should just need to see how this turns out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Sappho kind of says it. It's like AI. It doesn't know what a great story is. It doesn't know what emotion is. Can you imagine? Do you remember the first Telltale Walking Dead
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
when you had the big twist at the end?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was kind of like, I'm not really somebody who cries in films or games, but that pulled at the heartstrings. I don't think an AI can do that. I don't think it has the intelligence or the ability to learn emotion. What is emotion invoking, things like that. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the future AI does get that advanced, but I don't know whether it could
I
tell a
agree. I
story.
agree. And likewise, there's a section in God of War Ragnarok which you dislike currently, and that's fine. There's a section at the when you finish the game, you get a mission called the Viking Funeral. And I don't think it could have wrote the way that played out to that emotional effect. I don't think AI could have come up with that. Like the combination of the way the actors were on screen and the music that was playing and the way the characters interacted with it. AI couldn't have come up with the way that was portrayed. They couldn't have. Like as much as like you say, it's just the way it's done. There is emotion there that AI doesn't have. It can write a couple of lines that sound emotional, but it doesn't. It isn't portrayed the same way because it doesn't know how humans interact. It doesn't. It doesn't portray that correctly. So yeah, I also agree. I think there's certain
Yeah,
things
and it
that
can't do. I don't think it could write a scene like spoilers here for a very old game, but the death of John Marston
yes,
in Red Dead 1.
yeah,
That's probably one of the few I was just like, I felt heavy afterwards. I was like, what?
yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
you don't really see it coming. Or, other things that happen with Red Dead 2. I'm not going to spoil because
well, for that matter, even the ending of Red Dead 2, the way they've done that.
Yeah. Or even like one, like it wouldn't make me cry, but it kind of left me like, oh, that kind of, it invoked emotion, and I can't really define the emotion. But in Red Dead 1, when you travel from the US to Mexico and you've got that Jose Angales. Jose, I don't know. What's the musician? Anyway, he did the Sony advert. The balls bouncing down the street.
Yes, yeah, I
One
remember
night
that.
to be confused. Yeah, he hit that guy. His song is played while you're riding a horse into Mexico, and that's just like it's a really emotive time. It's like one of my fondest memories of that game. I was like, that's really cool. That's so well done. You
Mm.
couldn't write that into a game
Nope.
using AI.
No, because it wouldn't think of putting them together.
Yeah,
It wouldn't.
exactly. It's like I said before, it mimics and it mimics very well, but it can't create at this moment in time.
No, it's. I don't think it will be able to realistically create because again, like you're saying, it has to take reference. If the references
It has to
aren't
be
there in the
sentient.
first place, it can't do anything. You have to provide the references. You have to say, okay, this is what I need. This is what I want to get out of it. And even then, when it's generated, the person creating it will go, "That's not what I want. That isn't what I'm picturing." Like,
I mean, you could kind of go, well, I want something that's a bit like X, Y, and Z, and mention these emotive things. And it might be able to do something with that, but would it be able to create something new? You just look at it and go, well, that's just a knockoff of this or a knockoff of that.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, it's something that needs refined. Like, even if it did provide an idea, the writer on the other side would be like, it's got like loose good ideas here, but it needs a lot of work. But at least then they've got a loose idea as to, okay, yeah, that could work, but it needs like, and now I need to think of how we refine this to make it great and not just make it a loose idea. I think that's what
Yeah.
the AI will provide. I think it's just some loose ideas as to where the narrative can go. Okay, well, this does this and this and this. Oh, that could work, yeah, but I would need to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, yeah, we'll play around with this and see how it goes. That's
Yeah,
the kind of
and
thing
in
I think.
terms of world building, because
Yeah.
that was the other bit of the announcement, world building.
Yeah.
Is that, could you imagine? This is one of my niggles with Starfield. Is how is there only one major city on each planet?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
I agree.
like with AI, you could create 3 or 4 big cities on each planet, and it would just save so much time and money. And you're not firing anybody because those never existed.
Yeah.
We've got the game now. They never existed. So you could have a new Atlantis, you could have a new whatever, or a
Yeah.
new thing, and you can walk there, you can travel there, but you've got 5 or 6 major cities on a planet. You could have factions within those planets that are opposing, you know what I mean, and open up stories that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Agree?
But yeah, we're going to get on to the smaller final topic here. It's a one none of us are investing in because we don't really see a need for it, but we're going to touch on it because again, there's been some the typical sites lauding it with praise that personally don't think it deserves. The PlayStation Portal. What is the point? What? Honestly,
There is no point.
what is the point? It's touted by IGN as being the best solution for portable play, which I disagree with.
No, I mean that's obviously not the case.
Yeah,
It's
mobile,
not even an opinion.
a high-end mobile phone with Bluetooth to be able to use any headphones, not just PlayStation specific headphones. And then you can connect your DualSense to your phone because we know you can do that now. To be able to do it, yes, you can't use the native things, but then again, the chances are your lag's going to be better because it's not having to connect to Wi-Fi on your phone. You can connect to 5G. You're not having to connect to a hotspot on your phone because you're just going direct native 5G. You can connect to public space Wi-Fi to use portable play on your mobile phone if needs be. You can't connect to public Wi-Fi using the portal because it doesn't have a browser or doesn't accept browser login Wi-Fi. So you can't use it in public spaces. You can only use it in direct Wi-Fi connect spaces, which means your house or somebody else's house with a decent internet connection. And even saying that, on your own personal Wi-Fi, the lag isn't great, it stutters, it has audio issues and issues like that. Even when it's a Wi-Fi only device connected directly to one console in your house. And it has no features. So it doesn't have any apps. It is literally just to be able to remote play. It isn't cloud. It doesn't have Bluetooth. It is a tablet with literally a tablet with no features connected to a sawn in half DualSense.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I don't even, and I've seen a few, even Chris Dring posted the PlayStation Portal sold out in the UK. I'm like, yeah, but then what's the reference? Like, how many units were there? 10? 100? 50? 1,000? What were the units available? There was 1,000 units, that's not really saying much. There was 100 units, that's not really saying much. Like, just because it's sold out, it doesn't mean they actually provided enough, like, a lot of units. If they provided 50,000 units, 1,000 sold, yeah, PlayStation's not doing too great. If they provided 100 units, 100 sold, doesn't mean it did well. Just means 100 people wanted a PlayStation Portal. Like, we need the context of the situation here. How many units were shipped in order to get a context?
Yeah. I mean, I have no doubt that this is going to sell well because there are simply fans out there. You know, they just buy that because they can play their PlayStation game now on their on a mobile device. Yeah, and that's just how it is. And that's fine. That's fine. But saying that this is the best mobile experience you can have, I mean, literally, there are tons of um, uh, other options out there that provide a better experience.
No,
Everything
can
that
you not theoretically, and this is just throwing it out there, can you not theoretically on the ROG Ally download the PlayStation app because it's a Windows device? The PS Remote Play app.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But you can play everything else on there, and you can play it natively, and you can play it via streaming, and you have every other shop. It's the Xbox Store, Steam, Epic, Good Old Games, everything. Yeah. Again, it's basically a PC.
Yeah.
So you can do that. You have other options. The Steam Deck.
Yeah.
You have tons of streaming only devices anyway, out there that to simply provide the streaming option, and they do it in a better and more meaningful way. Yeah. There is just listen, I haven't played on it, but all you can do is stream in your local network from your PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And saying that this is the best experience you can have playing on a handheld is just factually wrong.
Yeah. It's the best. What they say is the best remote play, like best remote play option for the PlayStation, which is still factually wrong because mobile is the
only
best.
one. Yeah.
Mobiles, like most modern mobiles now are OLED screens. OLED screens with HDR10. Like, they are absolutely the best, visually, the best option. They also have the best Wi-Fi implementation in them because most modern phones now have Wi-Fi 6. They also have the Bluetooth, like I said, to use any audio with you. You can connect your DualSense to them. Granted, you won't have the haptics, but some people love that, some people don't. I can live without it. Like, it's not going to make or break the game for me not having haptics. Still play the game remotely, and that's ultimately what you want to do. Not fall on with haptics and things like that, because that's just going to reduce the battery life on it. Granted, it's just a screen. It's just, I think it's a waste of £200 or $300. Like, why would you can buy a brand new? If somebody has an issue with having not enough screens in the house to play their PlayStation because a kid hogs the TV, for $300 you can go out and you can definitely buy a 4K TV with HDR, doesn't have to be a big one, for less than $300 and play your PlayStation in another room or somewhere else in the house. There is no requirement for this device. If you have an issue with not having another screen in the house because the kids play on that screen all the time, and you want to spend $300 on what is a tiny portable screen with a DualSense connected, you may as well spend $300 on another TV. Whether it be in the same room or other.
The kids get a cheap TV.
Yeah. You may as well. It's going to be a better experience, and it's going to be native. If your thing is to play that somewhere else in the house, specifically somewhere else in the house, spend that $300 on another telly and put it in a different room so your kids can go and play on the screen downstairs or watch whatever they want to do down there whilst you remote play. Well, you play natively somewhere else. That's... If you're wanting to remote play from elsewhere, there are better options. Your mobile's a better option. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Everybody has a mobile capable now, and it's a better option than the PS Remote Play Portal. It's a pointless device, and personally, I think they could have been better served doing more R&D and building an actual new portable device, a new PSP or a new PS Vita.
Yeah.
That would have been better using the R&D time on creating that than making a device that has no features.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I kind of think you've summed up
Yeah.
pretty well. I don't think there's really much you can add to that. It doesn't really seem a point other than you'll get the hardcore getting it because it's a PlayStation product.
Yeah. Or a new bit of tech.
You'll get some mum and dads buy it because they don't understand the tech and they don't have a PS5, and they'll be disappointed for their kids.
Yeah.
Unless it's unless whoever sells it states that you need a PS5, it's not a replacement. But yeah, it doesn't really seem much of a point.
That's a good thing they added there, actually. And people will, and I guarantee it will happen. Like dark is the night. You can guarantee it'll happen. There will be parents around Christmas that buy the PS Portal where their kids don't own a PS5, and they'll not know,
I think it's a cheap,
and
quick
they'll think it's a cheap
alternative.
PlayStation, yeah, a cheap on-the-go PlayStation, or a cheap Switch, PlayStation Switch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And you can really tell that they are counting on some of those sales.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is, though, is primarily we know game stores a lot of the time employ people that don't give a shit to inform the customer when they're going to buy something. You take it, you put it on the
Yeah.
desk, they ring it up, and they give it to you. They don't say anything. They just assume that you have a PlayStation. Like,
Yeah.
a parent will go, okay, I want one of them PlayStation portals. Sweet, okay, boop. They'll ring it up, that's it. Only a very finite, like a 5% of the staff that work in these game stores worldwide will go, have you got a PlayStation 5? No. Then it's pointless picking that up because you need a PlayStation 5 in order to use that.
Yeah.
Right, okay. But the vast majority of staff working in any of these stores will absolutely not tell them that, and these parents will go and pick it up thinking that it's some portable PlayStation, and it isn't. It's going to be so many disappointed people at Christmas. It
Facts.
honestly is. It's going to be insane. It's positioned that way. It's positioned in a way where it looks like it's something that can play games that way. And I guarantee, and I want to see the box, because I guarantee in the box, the printing for requires PlayStation 5 will be tiny.
Yeah, very tiny.
So, mad. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this week's show. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. I know some people are coming in later on to the conversation. Of course, you can watch this all back afterwards. But we'll go back to our lovely faces to finish it off. Yes. So thank you everybody for joining us again this week for Midweek Mix-Up. It's nice to have it back on a Wednesday again. Of course.
Absolutely.
Makes a change. It's been a few weeks since we've done that. But yeah, it's get back in the rhythm of things now. News is still pretty light on anything gigantic, but there is, of course, we've covered the Game Awards stuff here, and of course tomorrow we're going to have some big rants with Boxy about the Game Awards stuff as well. I know Boxy will be wanting to air out some more of his frustrations there. But
for sure.
But yeah, it's hopefully things start to pick up. Of course, we will be covering the Game Awards as much as we don't want to air his stuff, only because we know not for the awards, for the reveals. So we're covering the Game Awards for the reveals, and obviously we'll be covering the topics about that. But there's no doubt there's going to be a few more news headlines coming out beforehand. We know that we're going to get a Baldur's Gate 3 Xbox release on the Game Awards show. Release date, at least there, so people can look forward to that. But again, once more, thanks for the new subs. Thanks for the donation from Aaron to Special Effect there earlier on. And the member chats. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Or like and share on the way out. And I hope everyone has an awesome evening. But let's get these panel members out of here. First of all, Sean, thanks for joining again, buddy. It's always good to have you, and I'm glad you get a couple of days off now to chill out before you go back to work again, or a day off, whatever it is. Where can people find you and what you're going to be doing with your time off?
You can find me on Shombalon on Twitter and the same on Xbox and PlayStation. I am sleeping tomorrow.
Nice.
I've just, like I said at the beginning of the show, 7 days on straight, and it's been a hell of a 7 days as well. It's not even been a chilled out 7 days. It's been a busy 7 days. I'm probably going to see a friend, go for a drink, some food. I'm not going to spend all day indoors.
Nice.
I don't know what I'm going to play. I might go back on Alan Wake actually, because I'm just not feeling Ragnarok right now. Maybe it's just the mood I'm in, and that's why it's not resonating with me. I'm just, like you said before, it's just, when you're not in the mood for the game.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what it is. But I've to be fair, I just don't think I'm liking the game. It's been that since the beginning of it. It hasn't sat well with me.
Yeah.
I've just not enjoyed it. But so I might go back to actually playing a game I do enjoy. Like I said, I bought the Remnant 2 DLC, so I'll probably give that a crack and maybe have a quick look at Sifu as well, considering I got that in the sale for like 14 quid or something like that.
Nice. Awesome stuff. Next up, Boxy. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and
Yes.
what you're going to be up to.
Well, I think I'm easy to find. It's Boxenberger everywhere. And yeah, man, we have a podcast coming up tomorrow, The World of Gaming, and we are going obviously to talk a lot about the Game Awards, but we will also talk about the fact that this week we had the 3-year anniversary of the Xbox Series X and PS5.
Yep.
And we will definitely talk about how we feel about this generation, what happened so far, give a little breakdown.
Yeah.
And there are tons of news as well. Earlier today, we had a big 20-minute coverage of the Justice League. We have, of course, a bunch of other news regarding some game announcements, game releases, add-ons that are going to come out. So lots of game talk tomorrow, and it's going to be awesome, man. And other than that, man, I hope we are back with the midweek next week.
Yes, definitely back again on Wednesday next week. Speaking of which, actually, Boxy, I'm mountain climbing on Thursday next week, so you might need a temporary panel member for next Thursday.
Good.
Which mountain
Good
are you
for
going?
letting me know.
I'm doing it's on the, I'll tell you the name of it. It's in the Lake District. It's not a massive mountain. It's like 2,500 feet tall.
Okay.
Blencathra via Sharp Edge.
Okay.
So yes, that's what I'm doing next Thursday and Friday. That's for charity, of course, as well. So we're doing that for charity. Doing 2 laps of it because it's 8 mile. It's an 8 mile round trip round the course. But again, it's got giant elevation, so it's not as simple as it sounds. So we're doing 2 laps to make it a little bit harder. But yes, other than that, find me everywhere at WandrinDutch, of course. Over on World of Gaming tomorrow with Boxy, covering that's a good topic actually. I'm looking forward to talking about 3 years of this generation because we're gonna have some probably a lot of bad things to say.
Yep, indeed.
There's a few good things, but a lot of not great stuff so far this gen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to that. And you can find me everywhere at WandrinDutch. Still, of course, doing streams over on Twitch and YouTube for special effects. Obviously, smaller ones. Just finished the 24-hour one on the weekend, and hopefully reach that goal. But other than that, I hope everyone has an awesome evening. Thanks once again. Hope you have an awesome night. Enjoy your games or day. Enjoy your games. And we will see you all again next Wednesday. So have a great one. Goodbye, guys.
See you later.